up, everybody? Hey, so the reason I laughed like that was because I just pushed the button, and I'm telling you, so I am. Technology is not my friend, okay? And it just said that this will not be recorded, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Anyway, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Okay, you hear me?
Yeah. The notification went out because it showed up on my phone, so they should be seeing this. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm talking about it's a live, but I don't know if it's gonna. Is it gonna? Will it stay later? Is what I'm saying. We're gonna find out.
Right.
We're gonna find
We
out.
could always do it again. No problem.
Okay. Jesus Christ. So I still got a couple people here. I just wanted to say what's up. JR Boston, we'll see how much this guy lies. I don't know which one you're referring to, but thanks for being here. Juan Gross, hey, what's up? I'm doing, Ron. I'm doing. Tommy, what's up? Who's that? Show? Hide? What happened there? Anyway, somebody. MRE, what's up, brother? Rob, first try or second try? It's been a while. Nah, it's the first one, Ron. Check me out, huh? I'm getting better. Let me see if I can make this thing fucking scroll. There we go. John, what's up, bro? You won. Kevin, thanks. And I talked to Dusty, by the way, Kevin. Yeah, I haven't said nothing about you. He's supposed to get a hold of me here in the next few days. Rick, what's up? John Martin, Buckport, Alabama. You've got a gremlin in your microphone. Is that you or is that me? Are you got a fan on?
It's hearing like. Okay, I'll turn it off.
I'm sorry. I know you're going to sweat to death right now, right?
No. It's all right. This is a real sensitive mic. I realize that. It's all good.
Okay, so let me see if I can get this damn thing going again. All right, I appreciate it. But anyway, Kevin, yeah, so I got a note to say something to Dusty for sure. I'd like to get him on. We'll see what happens. He's just not trying to – he's kind of like not trying to look back on prison stuff, I think. Hey, Carol, what's up? Midwest Supplement Solutions, what's up? What's up, Robert? You freed up from what case you've recently had, bud? Wish you all the best. Thank you. Am I freed up? What's a loaded question? Your sound is fucked up. I got you, bro. G-Rocker, someone's mic set. We got it. Cool, Keith, what's up? Thanks for being here. John Martin, fixed it. Yeah, thanks, bro. Okay, never mind what I said. Browning automatic. Sounds good. All right, so Leon Swan, some of you guys have seen some interviews he's done before. He's been on Blood on the Razor Wire. What else you been on, Leon?
I think I went on with Jimmy Calandra one time, and I was doing we were doing a project on a channel called Mafia Truth, but I think it kind of died off. But I'm gonna start something, trying to get a hold of Netflix. We're gonna try to start a little project, try to tell another side of Whitey Bulger that nobody knows about, that I saw.
Listen, I get it. I get it. I mean, I do. That's usually I'm sending you best wishes. What's up, James? Montauk, what's up? Yeah, look. So that's one of the things when you meet people in prison that are famous or infamous, as that there's often another side of them that people don't understand. And that's what's kind of the value in some of us that have been there with them. And I get people that will hate Whitey because of what I get it. He's still part of American pop culture, whatever you want to say. It is what it is. So anyway, Leon, let's by the way, so he's reached out to me before, probably a year ago, and I've been flaking out, of course, like everything else. And this was literally the last second tonight. I was going to go on and talk about my revocation hearing, and I just saw him. He left a message on Facebook the other day, and I just looked at it, and I called him, and boom, it was done in like, hour and 15 minutes. So I'm thinking right now, what's up, Bass Babe? I'm looking at the TV too. This is kind of cool. Okay, so I can see the comments. Nice. Anyway, right now, I'm kind of on a night schedule. So I'm up in the nights and I'm sleeping in the daytime. And what happened was I was supposed to start a job. Yeah, I was supposed to start a job at a chicken plant, and my car broke down. I don't have a vehicle, which is a whole nother issue we're not going to do right now. But while I'm waiting, and it's going to be probably up to 3 weeks or better, who knows? I'm thinking about doing like 12 o'clock at night shows. I got to see who's running what at nighttime and see it. I don't want to butt heads, but I just wanted to put that out there. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so Leon, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's do some background. Where are you from originally?
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm born and raised, which is where I'm at right now in St. Thomas, United States Virgin Islands. Uh, my life was just a regular life. I was perfect. I come from a middle class working family, mother and father. I mean, my life was just normal. I always wanted to be in the military growing up. You know, I was always a guy playing with the GI Joes and the tanks, put little plastic bags and throw them off like parachutes, stuff like that. You know, firecrackers, stick them in the sand, landmine, blow the legs off, stuff like that. You know,
How old are you?
I was always a GI Joe. I'm 44. 44.
Okay.
I'll be making 45 in December. Yeah.
So when you say normal, okay, so you're from a 2-parent home, right?
Well, my father's there, but he didn't live with us, but I kind of spent summers with him, but he was there.
Okay. So my point was, what's normal over there in the Virgin Islands? What's normal mean? Like what's
normal is just
normal.
When I say a normal kid is, I never got in trouble in life. I never got a DUI. I never got a jaywalking ticket. I'm just a normal guy, went to school. I'm not a street guy selling drugs on the corner. Never did none of that. I was just a normal guy, average Joe, you know, never got in trouble in life. I just wanted to be in the military, you know, that was my thing. I grew up watching GI Joe, you know.
So did you graduate from high school? Did you graduate?
Yeah, graduated from high school in 1997, right down here in Charlotte, Mali, and the next month or so, I went straight to basic training because the Air Force called me, the U.S. Air Force. I was like mechanical stuff. I always wanted to be a pilot. I always loved planes growing up, and I was either between the Air Force and the Navy. And the Air Force called me because, you know, when you're in high school, you take the ASVAB, the little test to see how smart you are or whatever. And the military wants to call you. Well, the Air Force called me like, hey, man, you want to be a mechanic on an F-16? I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know, hey, you want to be a jet engine mechanic on an F-16? I was like, yeah, no problem. And I actually took that from the plane, actually. We'll get that. But so I went to basic training, and I went to tech school, learned engine mechanics, whatever. And my first base was Fairchild Air Force Base. It's by Spokane, Washington. Now imagine me coming from the Virgin Islands all the way to Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
Imagine that, right?
Culture shock, weather shock, all of it.
Yeah. First time I saw snow. Well, actually, at first I saw a little snow in Texas because our basic training in tech school was in Texas, and in northern Texas, almost by the border of Oklahoma. It got a little cold and a little snowflakes came down, but not much. But the first time I saw and walked on snow was by Spokane, Washington. Yeah, and yeah.
Okay, so how long were you in the military? What did you do?
Well, I did basically almost 9 years if you count the whole year in a military prison. So yeah, well, what happened was I was doing good my first 3 years in the military, and then I went to Korea. I was stationed to get out of Fairchild. I always want to go overseas. I always want to go to Italy. My next assignment was Italy or Germany, England, you know, and because I just love traveling. I always was into social studies and learning other people's cultures and stuff, you know. So I went to Korea, and when I went to Korea, that's when I did too much drinking and chasing women, and that's when my whole life was started to go downhill. That's when it took the turn for the worst.
That's
drinking over in Korea. Yeah. In South Korea, they have like some bases in the military. You know, that war between North Korea and South Korea still hasn't really been ended. So we have troops over there. So you make a deal with Uncle Sammy. Since nobody really wants to go to Korea, you go to Korea for a year, and your next assignment, you want to go to Germany, you want to go to Italy, no problem, but you got to go to Korea for a year. So no problem, I'll go to Korea. So when I went to Korea, I started drinking too much, and this is an example. Had some nice Russian ladies over there, drinking, having a good time in the club. Russians, yeah, they had Russians over there, Filipinos, you know, the Russians are pretty interesting people. Let's put it that way. Like I said, chase too much women, drinking and chasing too much women. They got a liquor over there called soju. I call it liquid drugs. This soju liquid, yeah, I'm serious. This soju, when you drink it, I never was a drinker. And when you go overseas in the military, everybody wants to drink. Everybody, it's just I don't know if it's a thing. And I was just trying to fit in. Well,
like
I'm a dude have like, yeah. Well, I'm the type of dude I learned I'm not supposed to be drinking. I have like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing, where a Dr. Jekyll and when I drink, I have to be told of what I did the next morning because I have no recollection. I'm one of those guys, so I shouldn't be drinking. And that's where it went wrong. Drinking, got into it with some MPs, military police, down in the clubs. You know, me and all the girls down there, and I guess I swung on one of them, and it was just downhill from there. This commander, he didn't like me. And it was just downhill.
Wait a minute, stop.
Sergeant strike.
You swung on who, where exactly?
It's this little place called A-Town. This is actually one of the clubs and one of the girls I was dealing with. And it's patrolled by military police. It's like a bunch of clubs downtown for kind of GIs when you're in Korea.
Right.
And that was my hangout. I was just down there in the clubs all the time and just drinking. And it was actually about 2 weeks before going to Italy. I had a lot of things going on. I had my little breakups with some of my females, you know. I had to leave them. This is them waving goodbye when I had to leave. And I was actually dealing with both of them at the same time. I was a dog, you know, stuff like that. And it was just it just went downhill, bro. Went downhill, bro. And
before I go any further, let me just say a couple people. Dean, I saw your PO of Ronald Nance Reagan. What's up? G-Rock from Wisconsin. Joey, what's up? And yeah, Joey, thank you. And you're always there too, bro. You're always there. Montauk, what's up? Jane, sending you the best. Thank you. DJ Shark, what's up, DJ Shark? And thank you for the other night. I went back and some of those comments and I was, thank you for that, bro. Carol, Angela, hi, Angela. Oh, shoot, that's what I hate doing. Oh, here we go. Because I always have problems with this. All right, Duck Fart, my folks were married in St. Thomas. I did 30 months at the federal co-ed prison, Geiger, and then transferred to Sheridan when I saw two mulattoes get killed the first night I was there. At Sheridan, Dean Drago, write me about that or send me something, info Convict Inc. High Grind Jr. not feeling well. I'm not feeling the best either, but whatever. Good to hear Carol, my favorite lady. Angela, let's see. What is this? Boom. Angela, because we're strong. I don't dislike him. Just bust. Okay, I just want to see anything. Blah blah blah. Mike Walls. Okay. Anyway, so you went to prison in the military, right? Where'd you go?
Yeah. There's in the military. There's only really 3 main prisons in the military. Okay. There is. I think in the main one is actually the one in Kansas that everybody Leavenworth. I think there's a military side and the non-military side in Leavenworth. I think you've been there, so you know.
Yes.
There's one in Miramar, California. It used to be it was a Marine base. I think Miramar, California. I think that's the only females. I think they made it just for female military now.
Okay. I
had a female friend who was there. And then the one I was at, Miramar, yeah. Then the third one is the one I was at, which is a Charleston. It's called NAVCOM Brig in Charleston Navy Base in Charleston, South Carolina. And that's where I was at. And these prisons are not that big. Other than the one in Leavenworth, these military prisons are not that big.
The one in Leavenworth is huge. So what exactly were you charged with and how much time did you do?
Well, after the 8 years, I was in Mountain Home, Idaho, which is 45 minutes from Boise, Idaho. Okay. Yeah, go figure. Okay. And I was downtown. I was trying to date this female in the military, which that's one thing you try not to date females in the military, especially in the Air Force. And it just went left. She was dealing with these other guys in the military. And they were threatening me on the phone. And I live downtown, and I'm a gun nut. I'm a gun collector. This is one of the reasons they kicked me out of the military, because I'm a gun nut. I'm a gun fanatic. And they came down to my house. And I was like, well, I told this guy, do not come down to my house off base, the apartment complex. I'm the only black guy who lives on this side of the street. I'm the only black guy who lives over here. So when there's a whole bunch of other black guys who look like there's some G's, I'm thinking that's you threatening me coming down here. So I went to get the SKS, put on the bulletproof vest, put on that 45 SIG, went down there, and then all I heard was run dog. And then in broad daylight in the suburbs, I'm running around like SKS. And And the thing is, they live across the street. These dudes are threatening me the whole time, and they live in the apartment across the street playing the game. I know who you are, but you don't know who I am. When that SKS came out, everybody knows what I do. So we had this Mexican standoff in the suburbs, a Friday in the suburbs. So I guess somebody called the police. He's got a shotgun and a bulletproof vest. I got an SKS with a banana clip, and like we're both shouting each other. Like, put the gun down, fight me, fight me. I'm not coming out here to fight, bro. I come out here with an SKS to shoot. So the police came, SWAT team, everything, and they talked me out the apartment. Okay, came out the apartment. And then they came and got all my guns, and then they reported it to the military. And the military's like, you know what? You got more guns than him. You're gonna use his guns, and he's just punk faking. You're gonna actually kill him. So they rigged up a court martial to make me a felon so I can't buy guns. That was the whole thing of kicking me out of the military. They hate me with guns. So that's what they did. They rigged it up.
And you did how much time? How much time in all?
In the military or in the prison?
Yeah, the military.
Basically 9 years. Yep, 9 years.
Behind bars?
Well, behind bars, it's a year.
Okay,
about a year.
Okay.
So out of those 9 years, I did a year in a prison, military prison.
Okay.
So when I
go ahead.
When I got out, since you make me a felon, so I can't go to a gun store and buy guns, I was like, really? My whole plan when I got out, summer of 2006, was I'm gonna buy up as much guns as I can, smuggle them back to my home in the Virgin Islands, and bury them. Because how can you take a gun away from me if you don't know where it is? It's not gonna be in my house. I was gonna get some shovels and some waterproof cases. I was dig a hole and bury them. That was my whole plan. And I suggest everybody do that. Buy up as much guns as you can and bury them. Yeah, it's a war against guns out here. That's me.
Okay. Oh boy, here we go. We just went off the rail. No,
yep.
Okay, all right.
I told that's me. That's me. So I was doing pretty good. About 2007, 2008, 2009. I used to have a little gun smuggling operation because I live in the Virgin Islands. And I used to work for a shipping company, a company with container ships, cargo ships. Like I told you, I used to smuggle the guns down in an arcade machine because I worked for the company.
Like Pac-Man.
And then it was supposed to be Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, all that stuff. Gotcha. Galaga, all that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff. You can get those arcade machines. It's like a big wooden cabinet with a TV and a circuit board and a little bin for the quarters. There's nothing in it. I was just gonna fill it up full of guns and just wrap it up and put it down in the ship, and it's been working. Yeah, they already know it. So, and it was supposed to be my last mission. I plan things like a military mission. I'm a commando.
Sure.
I had a guy buying guns for me up in the States, and all of a sudden, just like with drug dealers, I guess your re-up money kind of starts disappearing. You're supposed to be buying drugs with this money or guns with this money. Yeah. Where's this money disappearing at? Yeah, that was going on. So I said, you know what? Let me get a third guy in this operation. That's where it went wrong. I invited this fake Lil Wayne wannabe studio gangster. Never do crime with somebody who goes in the studio.
You sent me.
That's one thing I learned.
You sent me a photo of him too, didn't you?
Yep. He looks like a fake Lil Wayne, right? Yep.
God, yes. Yep. Yeah. Where is that? Go ahead.
It was like an intimidation factor. Like, hey man, don't mess up my money, man. This is my buy money to buy guns. I'm gonna pay you $5-6 grand to go in a gun store and buy guns, but how are we gonna buy guns if we can lose my money? You know? So it was 4th of July weekend of 2009. We both go up there, and I think we're all gonna get along. It's the three of us. We're going to the gun stores, going to the gun shows in West Palm Beach, Florida, and it's supposed to be like good times. I mean, you know, I noticed like the two of them, they clicked. They were 24 and 25 years old, but they acted like a 14 and a 15-year-old. They're going crazy. And it's like they're jumping out in the car in the middle of the street with a trunk full of guns. We're leaving the gun store, arguing and cursing how much money I got more than them. this and that. And we're a bunch of black guys in West Palm Beach with a trunk full of guns. It's the craziest thing I ever saw in my life. Craziness. It's like they want to get caught.
Right.
Do you know how much guns we got back here? We got over 25 grand worth of guns. It was crazy. That's a movie all by itself. It's crazy. So he did think that the ATF caught on to it, because those gun stores call it ATF. And they had ATF agents and stuff. So they eventually figured out, like, hey, we're from the Virgin Islands. We're not from here. These guys are smuggling guns in the ships, because the main shipping company is right down the street from all the gun stores, the main strip. They figured it out. So it was December 2009. We came up, wrapped up all the guns, all the craziness went down, arguing, cursing, jumping out of cars, a trunk full of guns, all that stuff went down. It was horrible. It's a horrible experience. But I said, let me just get this thing done, and I'm done with these two men. So we wrapped up the guns, got the guns to the ship, and we jumped on the plane to go back to the Virgin Islands. What I do is I drop off the guns at a warehouse by the dock, and they take the guns to the ship. But I changed up last minute because too much mistakes were being made. There's two warehouses you can drop the guns off. Instead of doing the one in West Palm Beach, I changed up last minute and dropped it off at the one in Miami. But the ATF and customs was on West Palm Beach waiting to catch the guns and lock us up. But I changed up on them last minute. And they was even at the airport to arrest us. But because I dropped off the guns at another warehouse, they had no evidence, so they had to let us go. But eventually they figured out he dropped his guns off at another spot. So they found the guns in the container. They went to lock the clown up in West Palm Beach who was buying the gun from me. He ratted off the back automatically. That's what these guys do. They act tough until they get caught, then they rat.
Yeah.
He ratted that, hey, these two dudes down here, they're giving me money to buy guns and smuggling back to the island. So about a month later, this is about January 2019, they came with a SWAT team, a helicopter, everything, surrounded the house, bust down the door, all that craziness, and arrested me. And from there, they took me back to Florida, federally, in the whole Con Air with the chains.
Yeah, sure.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Back up to Florida, yeah.
Go ahead. No, I wanted to say something to Michael. He said, it's awesome to see you free and in good spirits, Rob. I've been here since day one, and I'm not going anywhere. You better stay here, too, with respect from Canada. Michael, I appreciate it, and I know you are. I appreciate your support. Thank you. Somebody else said, what was it, Wayne? Glad you're back from vacation. Which one, Wayne? I think I've been vacationing on and off for a couple of years on this channel, right? I mean, whatever. I'm just saying. But, Michael, thank you. I appreciate that. Merlados were all the Cubans that Castro sent over on the boat. Merlados were all the Cubans that Castro sent over on the boat lift. Dean and in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Brad, what's up, Brad? I see you. Dean, but they were actually all the murderers in the Cuban prison. Angela, I've been listening to you. Okay, that's Angela and Top B. I thought you were from. Okay, cool. You guys go back. Hello, Grind. Okay, sure. You guys do your thing. I just want to make sure they sent all the Cubans. Tell me why you blocked me first, Top G. I hope you're not talking to me. I didn't block anybody. Okay, you guys are talking to one another because I just want to get like ahead of these comments because they get too piled on. Top G, that's not the reason. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you get locked up for the guns. What are you charged with ultimately?
Exporting firearms out of the country and basically, and they tried to hit me with the trafficking. The reason I was looking at some big time, probably 15 years or whatever, but because the guns got caught in Florida, the guns didn't make it to the ship and get caught down here. So how can you say trafficking is your intent to sell or selling the guns? How could you charge me with trafficking if the guns never got to the islands and I never sold it to anybody? You can't prove I was and sell it.
Not by intent.
That's how my lawyer.
Okay. No,
yeah.
Well,
exactly. My lawyer worked it out.
The reason I said that, the reason I said that is because I had a friend. I just paused because he's been trying to get a hold of me too, and I haven't talked to him in a long time. His name's Gary Williams, and we got out of Butner, and he hooked up with somebody from the Virgin Islands, and they were sending large quantities of weed over there. And there was something with it was a container, shipping container. It was a fluke, and they had like a bomb scare. Somebody called in like a bomb They had dogs sniff
Yep.
for bombs, but they picked up on the weed.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going to get them with trafficking or whatever. But it's the same thing. Something happened where because it was in Florida also. Same thing happened, but it was marijuana. So that's
Exactly.
why I asked, because there was I was part of that. I was with him. I was trying to help on that case on the pretrial stuff for a while, but that's why I kind of brought that up, you know. But
exactly.
Go ahead.
There's only really two companies, Tropical Shipping and Crowley. So yeah, one of them. Yeah. Right. So same thing. The guns got caught in Florida. So I was able to fandangle it down to 5.5 years without writing. Okay. I never told her nothing. Those other two dudes ratted on me. And they told about the other guns I was smuggling. So I had another case in Pensacola with some more guns I got out of a gun store. So they tacked on those other guns, and it kind of did basically they did a semi he basically tacked on another year. So basically I got 6.5 years total for all the guns, which was, you know what, with the amount of guns they caught me with, that's fine. Okay, I'll sign that plea. So this is Miami, Florida, West Palm Beach, Florida. I go to Coleman. Coleman is a 30-minute drive north of Orlando, and Orlando is about maybe a 3-hour bus ride from Miami. And I get to Coleman, and between Coleman and the place you was at, Butner, is probably either one of those two are the two biggest federal complexes in America. You said Butner has 5 facilities. Coleman has 5 facilities as well.
But Coleman's actually bigger, I think, population-wise.
Yeah, I think Coleman's bigger, man. You're driving in the bus, you look to the left and see one big prison, and then you look to your right, you see another one, and then you look to see another one. I'm like, what the hell did I get myself into, man? It's like, it's a whole community of prisons. It's huge. I was like, it's ridiculous.
It's all about economics.
It's ridiculous.
It's all about economics.
Yeah. So my points weren't really that high. And my first prison was the one I went to was the medium, because I had medium points. And the thing in this with the Coleman is, Coleman medium, the correction officers like to harass you because they think you're too scared to go to the pens, pen 1 or pen 2.
Oh, they use it. Yeah.
They use that as like, you keep it up, I'm going to send you to pen 1. You keep it up, I'm going to send you to pen 2. And most of them are rats, cooperators, at the medium. So a lot of people are scared to go to the pen. So the correction officers tend to play with you a little more. I don't tolerate people playing with me. I'm no toy. So me and the correction officers used to keep getting into it until finally, I cursed out this damn correction officer woman who's in the unit. She's talking shit, and I just told her, get this bitch out my cell, man. I don't give a damn. I was like, I had enough. Yeah, I don't play, man. So they shut down the whole compound to drag me back to the shoe. At this point, they already know me. I don't tolerate BS. So I'm in the shoe. They had me in there for about 1.5 years, and they're not gonna break me, man. I'm sorry. I'm a dude. I know how to mentally put myself someplace else. So you can keep me in there for 1 year, 2 years, man. It's rough, but I can do it. So eventually they was like, you know what? We're gonna send you to pen 2. Okay, no problem, because my points probably was still medium points, but they didn't want me at the medium no more. So that's why they sent me to pen 2. I'm no rat. I'm no child molester. I'm no ex-cop. I'm none of that. It's just that because I had medium points and they didn't want me at the medium anymore, and I'm ex-military, because there's a lot of ex-military at Coleman Pen 2. So that's probably why they sent me to Pen 2. No problem. I heard Pen 2 is full of rats, but it's softer than Pen 1, because Pen 1 is not as bad as probably Beaumont.
Is it medical? Is it medical as well? Is it medical as well?
No. All that stuff about Whitey being at a medical facility. Coleman, there's nothing medical special going at Coleman 2. Yeah, the infirmary is nothing special, man. It's just a place for rats.
Okay, real quick, I put that comment up there, you guys, because I know that there's something else that's gone on. No, it has nothing to do with this show, but it's an apology,
right.
So I figured it'd be nice to put it up. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. So to let everybody know about Coleman Pen 2, Coleman Pen 2 is basically a dropout yard. Sometimes they used to call them what's the word? Safe haven. I think that was the words they were using back then. It's a place for people like child molesters, ex-cops, gang dropouts, and stuff like that. That's the kind of place, and rats. So, but not everybody at Coleman 2 is none of those. There are some 100 dudes like me who are not those type of people. So you can't just say everybody at Coleman Pen 2 is a rat, child molester. You can't do that because there's 100 dudes.
Here's what I can say.
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying. I know that there are a lot, but I do know that there are people that were at Coleman 2. I know that for a fact that were older or they went closer to home that were at Coleman 2. Because it is known as a dropout yard. It is a PC yard. It's protected. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
It's like Butner 1. Okay, so in my case, I got put there on a medical issue, right? So there's a handful of guys that don't have problems. So that's what you're trying to say. Pretty much is what you're getting at.
Exactly.
But anyway, I don't know. But go.
That's good. That's good. We explain this to people who don't know. Because a lot of people.
I kind of wanted to, because somebody said something, so it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's to make sure to let people know that everybody at Coleman Pen 2 is not a rat, not a child molester, not an ex-cop. So you can't say, I'm just letting these people who don't know any better. You can't do that. So I'm at Coleman Pen 2, and they actually did me a favor. Coleman Pen 2 is pretty laid back. I mean, I can go a whole week without talking to a correction officer. That's just beautiful for me because I don't really like cops, correction officers telling me crap in prison. So even the correction officers who was at the medium, because they bounced them around between Coleman Pen 1, Pen 2, and the medium, they even said, man, they did you a favor, man. You don't get no trouble here. I was like, yeah, because they leave people alone at Coleman Pen 2 because there's still killers here. There are still people who have killed correction officers. There's still people who have cut people's head off.
I know of a guy that got, well, I don't know him, but I knew somebody that was there and a guy killed him. I know about that.
Yeah.
Look, let me tell you something real quick about, and this is about like even at USP Terre Haute, the dropout of the PC yards, especially in the pens. You got a bunch of guys in there that whatever fucked up with their gangs or whatever, and were tough once upon a time. They dropped out. It doesn't make them less tough, and then they get all angry about themselves because they dropped out. Then they get through. It's like a mental thing for them. That's my analogy of it. You know, that's because there was always so many problems over at Terre Haute in the pens, and I'm like, what the hell's going on, man? It's a dropout yard. You know, why is there so many issues? And one of the cops kind of said it, and it made sense. I just thought I'd throw that out. Whatever. But go ahead.
No. Go right ahead. Right. That's why I watch your channel. Everybody does. You explain these things perfect that these other people, nobody else can explain. You do it perfect. That's why I came on your show, man. Everybody needs to know the truth of what's going on. You know. So, like you said, so at Coleman Pen 2, I got into little fights here and there. For people who's never been to prison, your hardest time in prison for me is when you first get there. The hardest thing is finding a good cellmate that you can get along with. Oh yeah, because you're gonna bounce around. They put you with this guy. You and him are not compatible. They put you and you got to move to another cell. You know, so until I finally got a guy. He was DC, but he didn't really. He was an OG DC guy, but he wasn't like the DC people you would think of. He was like on his own, but he was still DC though.
People need to understand that the DC prisoners have some amongst the worst reputations. Okay, and a lot of it, I found to be not true. I understand where it came from. It came from the fact that when they closed down Lorton, they put them all on the feds, and Lorton was like, the world upon themselves, and their culture in the prison systems were different than the culture in the feds. And what I mean by that, and I'll give a perfect example. Arkansas Department of Corrections back in the 80s and 90s was full of let's be nice, sexual assault. Okay, punking people out with, that's the best way to put it, for sex. California, during the same time, I went to California right after Arkansas, and nobody played that shit, and it was like all gang time in California, and Arkansas wasn't at that time. It's changed now. But so the culture in Lorton was totally different than what it was in the feds. So the DC guys had a reputation of being booty bandits, thieves, and I can go on and on. But I will say that I was in Lewisburg with like 500 of them, and never Never had issues with those dudes. Matter of fact, I had some really close friends after a while, and they usually other black gangs or cars had problems with them, And there's so many different cars
Exactly.
within the DC guy. Anyway, we're way off track, but go ahead.
No. You explain it right. Like I said, my celly, he actually was locked up since 1985. I guess he was, like you said, he's been to Big Lorton. He was a DC guy. He was in a crack house, a drug house, whatever, a trap. And I guess they were going in to buy drugs. And I guess some of the customers was in there smoking the crack or whatever. And I guess they get paranoid. And I guess my celly, he told me that the guy was just acting crazy. So he pull out the gun and start shooting. And he shot at least about 2 of them in this trap house / crack house, whatever. So he was locked up for about murder. Yeah. That's what happened, 1985. So this was DC, but like you said, they closed down Big Lorton and everybody from DC was going to federal.
Exactly. So he was in there since 1985?
1985. Yeah, he went home. Yeah, 30 years he did before he went home. Yeah.
Do you remember his name?
I don't know if I want to call his name, but his name was you might know him actually. I'll call him. His name was they used to call him Bone. Rose.
Okay,
very popular in the DC car.
No, the story that you told is what rang a bell. And I knew a guy from DC, but there was another guy named Charles. Oh hell, I forgot his name, but they were still going up for parole, He killed 2 cops and he was in the military. And I don't know what happened, but he killed 2 police officers. And he went up in front of the parole board and he had 32 years clear conduct. Okay. And they said that his clear conduct was manipulating the system. I'll never forget that. It's like, man, you can't win. You know what I mean? Let me say, trying to get parole when you kill 2 cops is a tough. It's an uphill climb. But the reason they used against the dude, it was like crazy. You know what I mean? Like you manipulated the system for 32 years. It was nuts. But go ahead.
Crazy.
Anyway, and
well, like.
Go ahead.
But
Dean,
so
you can read that. You can read the screen. Are you seeing the screen?
I can, Rob.
Okay. No, I didn't know because I'll put some up. I'll put some up if
I can see.
I just didn't know.
Yeah. If we're gonna get to a point where they can ask questions. If they want to, just put it up. It's just small, Dean, but I can see it.
In regards to this question, Dean, I want to say something. I have a friend. Man, I need to get him on too, since he's calling me lately quite a bit. I say a friend, Sally from 2007. That you're saying the last co-ed prison was Dublin. I will say that what's the one in Kentucky? The medical facility. Damn. That was the narcotics farm. Lexington. That was co-ed at one time. And my old Sally had he got a girl pregnant down there. A bunch of different people, a bunch of stuff like that happened. But I'd like to hear that. So Dean, if you could hit me up on convictinc@gmail.com. I'd appreciate it. Go ahead though.
So I finally got a decent celly. My celly, he's an OG DC guy, and we would just get along. We just got along, man. He used to play the cell a lot. He was like a store man, and he would be in the cell selling sodas and telling his war stories because he was an OG. He wasn't a very tall guy, but he was known as a stabber and a killer in the feds. He stabbed people everywhere he goes. He was actually even at Penn 1, stabbed a guy almost to death, went to the Smooth program, and that's when they sent him to Penn 2 to just go home because he was actually coming up for parole, and he actually did get parole about just after I left and went home. So I'm glad he went home. So we're just trying to keep each other out of trouble, and we just vibed, I'm a laid back type of dude. A lot of people, when I go in the shoe, a lot of people actually love to be in the shoe with me because I'm a cool dude, man. We would tell ourselves movies, kind of a movie buff. I'd have to tell people movies. I'd tell movies and stuff like that. We can't watch them, so we would tell movies. I had guys was my celly in the shoe. They would go in the yard, get into trouble in the yard, and a day later come back to the shoe and request to come in the cell with me. That's how cool I was,
Yeah, I'm waving at Tony. Yeah, no, I hear you. Go ahead.
So I'm a laid back dude, and he told me like in 30 years, I'm like the 3rd best celly he ever had. And which is cool because what I do is when the doors pop, I used to sleep in at Coleman. it's pretty laid back. And my cellie was an OG. Nobody was not coming in this cell because my cellie was known as a stabber. He would kill you. So and he was cool with me. So nobody troubled me. So I know other prisons when the doors pop, they got to be suited and booted at the door. Now at Coleman, I slept in. My cellie, he had a little,
No. I said I didn't want to. I said bullshit, and I knew that there would be somebody someday that would come back at me and say something, because it is true what you just said. But I will say this too. I was in prisons that were rocking and rolling too, but there's a point where you just say I just kind of said fuck it. Like wearing headphones and walking the track with your headphones loud. Did it all the time. I used to get some of my brothers so pissed off for me doing that, or wearing shower shoes in the unit. All those things you're not supposed to do, But it's just I understand, and it's for sure. But I used to sleep in the daytime too. I took a nap every day. 12:40 to like 1:30, listening to Rush Limbaugh, like clock.
Exactly.
I did.
You
go
see,
ahead.
The thing with Coleman is. Coleman, nobody wants to go ship to a real prison like Hazleton or Big Sandy or Terre Haute. So they want to behave, because if you keep it up, they're going to ship you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people there, a lot of them are rats. Their paperwork they're hot. They don't want to go. So Coleman people actually behave. It's like, you can kind of just. I slept in. I got out of bed when I felt like it, so I could sleep in when the doors pop. I never used to go to breakfast. I would sleep until about maybe 9 and change. Just get out, brush my teeth, jump in the shower, get my chair and post up and watch TV. And I got into it with a guy at first, my first couple of years there, I used to go to the rec department, the rec area.
Yeah.
I used to watch a lot of movies. I'm a movie buff.
Yeah. Right.
And you have individual TVs, and with your earphones, you can plug into that DVD player TV. And they have a whole bunch of DVD selections, and you can watch movies. So I used to go watch movies, but one day, this is eventually I'm getting to how I met Whitey.
Okay,
one day I went there, and this guy, he's known as a cooperator, but they walk around with their chest out, the rats, the tough guy rat. Yeah. So you got to make this room in time, or else you won't make it to the room, and you're going to be asked out. You won't be able to get a TV. So I was in the line, but somehow he was trying to accuse me of rushing the line, but I was in front of him. So we got into the room, and he's still popping his mouth off like this sucker ass dude, do. And I'm like, dude, don't talk to me. Like I ignored it until finally he's like, look, man, I'm in here because of rat ass dudes like you, And it kept going until it come to fisticuffs in the TV area. So we're fighting, wrecking, whatever, and until the COs came, and then so both of us went to the shoe. So we're in the shoe, and he's bawling and crying, man, tell the cops we're cool. Tell the cops we're cool. You know how it is in the shoe. You gotta kind of let the cops know that, hey, you and the dude ain't got a beef, so he can let you back on the compound. Because I can do the shoe for months. I've done it for so much. I've probably done a good year and a half, 2 years in the shoe before. So it doesn't faze me, but some people can't do the shoe. Yeah. So he was like, man, look, I told the cops we don't got no beef. It's over with. But the correction officers, they had this one no good lieutenant, didn't like me at Coleman. And he used to keep running up my time. He would tell lies, say I call him a bitch and this and that. And I never did that. So he would hit me more shots to keep me in the shoe long. So I was in the shoe. This was just before Christmas of 2014. So we're gonna get to where Whitey comes. Right. I was in the shoe 2014 after that situation, and I just keep hearing gossip. Like, how you go to rec and you hear, hey, Whitey Bulger's here. Whitey Bulger's here. So I was like, they're trying to say Whitey Bulger's here on another range. It wasn't the same range I was at. The hallways with the cells, the range.
Sure.
For those who don't know. He was in another range. So, okay, Whitey Bulger's here. Like, okay, whatever. So it was just before Christmas. And you know how just before Christmas, it kind of, as a Christmas present, they kind of let a whole bunch of people out the shoe at one time in increments.
Oh, yeah. Yes. They emptied it out. Yes. Or they anticipated getting filled up from fighting after.
Exactly. That too.
Yeah.
So this is like probably just before Christmas. And I was going back to K2 unit. I was in K2 unit at Coleman.
Yeah.
And I got back to the unit, and all of a sudden, and then somebody, I wasn't paying attention. I just doing me, I was on the top tier, and somebody said, "Hey, that's Whitey Bulger." And when I look, I just see it's just an old retiree in a wheelchair who's just got his head bald like you, and that's Whitey Bulger. It's like, okay, he's just an old guy. He's just an old fragile guy in a wheelchair, and everybody's surrounded him like. Everybody's like, because Whitey Bulger had like a celebrity status when he first got to Coleman. Because this was 2000. This was just before. This was 2015. So it was 2015, January 2015, and Black Mass was just starting to be advertised. So he was like a celebrity. He had a celebrity status. So for the first 2 weeks I was in the unit, when he was there, I didn't really go up to try to meet him. I'm not a groupie dude. Like, oh my God, can I get your autograph? Right. And this, I'm not that type of dude. Yeah. I play it kind of like I'm a dude. I learned from a guy who actually knew celebrities, like Michael Jackson, a musician. And he told me one thing. He told me, whenever you meet celebrities, you don't be a fanboy. You just kind of play it cool. You play it like you're somebody, even if you're not, even if you're broke, you don't got no money. You kind of just play it in a way like you're somebody. You're respectful, and they kind of have more respect for you. And this is how it's worked for me in life. With generals, with colonels, when I was in the military, people would be like, how can you talk with this guy? You're not supposed to talk because you're like a little 1-2 striper.
Let me tell you.
Like we're all human.
What you're saying right now is 1,000% true. And I'm going to, Carmine Persico, which I know you've been watching, so you know how close I was with him. For the guys who like basically were trying to blow him, he did not have any respect for whatsoever.
No respect.
He absolutely used those people. You know what I mean? He did. And you're right. I'm thinking about Bernie.
It's 100%.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
If you blow these guys or be a groupie, can I get your autograph and stupid stuff like that? They're not going to respect you.
Oh,
you don't do that. There's a way to carry yourself.
Real quick on that, and I think I've told the story before. I know I have. Kenneth White is a guy who does some really good artwork that was in prison at Butner. And he came to me one day and he asked me to borrow, or if he can, see my People magazine. No, it wasn't a People. It was, I forgot what magazine it was, but it had a Bernie Madoff's picture on it. And it was, a big full-size picture of Bernie. So he drew this picture, copied it, and he's a phenomenal artist. And Bernie Madoff just got to that prison. He was there like 3 days, and White was going home. And as he walked out, he caught Bernie on the walkway, and he said, "Mr. Madoff, I'm going to go home. Can you please sign this for me? And I'm going to put it on my fireplace or something." The guy was homeless. I'm not knocking homeless people. I'm a step away from you anyway. But I'm saying that this guy straight bullshitted his way. Bernie signed it, and I forgot he was on Oprah, or was he on Oprah? They did big things with them. Or, he made a lot of money from that, straight lying bullshit. But he did. Go ahead.
Wow, that's good.
I just did a side.
So this is how I was introduced to Whitey. So about 2 weeks go by, and I'm not trying to meet him. I'm not trying to. I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know if he might not even like black people. I didn't know. I heard things about Boston and this and that. Well, he's Whitey Bulger. His name's Whitey Bulger. He might not like black people. I don't know. But about 2 weeks go by, and I kind of noticed he's cool with everybody. He talks with everybody, black people, Mexicans. It don't matter. He just cool with everybody. He just kind of cool. Like, okay, whatever. And I had a guy in prisons, in federal prisons, whatever. A lot of military people kind of look out for each other. There's like we're our little group, our little gang, kind of our little sorority. So there was a military guy in there. He was doing life for unfortunately killing his wife. He was an older guy, probably in his 70s. Almost. He was like a hippie though. Yeah. Oh yeah. A lot of military dudes in there for killing their wives.
Killing their girls and what? Yes. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. But he was cool though. He was at Leavenworth, and when the military's at Leavenworth, they've been there for 20 years, and you got life. So they start to bounce them around in the feds. It seems like that's what they do. They can't keep them at the military side of Leavenworth.
It's after 10.
After about 10 years, they move them around. Yeah. So
yeah,
he was one of those guys. He was Marine Corps and Army, and he wasn't a Marine Corps, and then he switched to the Army. But unfortunately, killed his wife. Came home, found her in the bed with another guy, got the gun and killed both of them. One of those stories.
That's it.
And and he's got life in there. His name was Cole. He's actually a good guy, man. We were actually good friends too. I don't care. He was white. I don't care. Black, white, purple, green. I'm not into that stuff, man. We're all people, man. That's just me. Especially in the military. I got no time for that stuff. So we had like little book clubs. And one thing about me, I can't read novels and all that stupid stuff. I just can't. I can't read novels, love stories, and stuff like that in prison. So what I do is I used to be a mechanic in the military. I used to fix jet engines on fighter jets and tanker jets. I'm into planes. I wanted to be a military pilot, just went left. And so I used to get these books about mechanical stuff with airplanes. This is the actual book. It's about the breakdown of the B-52. It's like the B-52 owner's workshop manual. It tells you everything about the B-52, fixing the B-52, flying the B-52. I get a bunch of these books. I'm into planes. And the military guy, his name was Cole, I was cool with. He was cool with White because they're both somewhat about the same age. And they were cool with each other. This is 2 weeks gone by since Whitey was in the unit. Never talked to him. The guy Cole came to me. He's like, hey, why do you want? I guess he told Whitey about this book. And he told me that, hey, Whitey wanted to see my book about B-52s. Because Whitey was in the Air Force. Whitey was a mechanic on the B-29s. Remember the big propeller planes that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Yeah, yeah.
Whitey used to fix those big airplane engines. He was in the Air Force. Yeah, that's what I'm going to tell you about that as well. He was in the Air Force. He was born in 1928, so he was just a little too young to be in World War II. By the time World War II ended in 1945, he was probably just at 16 or 17 at the cutoff. So what's the point of joining the military if World War II was over in 1945, So, but I guess he eventually joined the military in 1948. And in 1948, the Air Force had just started in 1947. It was the Army Air Corps, which was, the Air Force was part of the Army, the Air Corps, and they separated.
Okay, yeah.
And then they became the Air Force, its own entity. And at that time when Whitey joined, he was joining the Army, wanted to be all gung-ho, wanted to be in the infantry and kill people. That's what he told me. He was just
That's what he said, kill people.
That's what he told me. He wanted to be in the infantry to shoot people and kill people. But at that time, they were forcibly making you go in the Air Force because they needed people in the Air Force. So they made you go in the Air Force. So instead of going in the infantry and the Army, which now is reversed, now they're trying to get you to go from the Air Force to go in the Army. But back then, they were trying to make people go from the Army to the Air Force. So that's how he got into the Air Force, 1948. And they made him a mechanic. And, he didn't care too much for the engine. He could barely tell me about it. But I was in the Air Force. I was a mechanic. He was in the Air Force. He was a mechanic on the propeller planes, the bomber planes. And when the guy introduced me to Whitey, I introduced myself. We just started talking. I was in the Air Force. You love guns. I love guns. I'm a gun nut. He's a gun nut. And we just kicked it off just like that. And he would always see me and start talking with me. And I used to sit, all those units, the newer prisons almost look the same. It's like a big triangle, like a big nacho. Yeah. And you got the two stairwells with the two sides with the top and bottom tier cells, the stairwells. We used to sit at the bottom of the stairwell because when you sit at the bottom of the stairwell, it used to watch the movie TV. In prison, you got the white TV, you got the BET TV. Then we had a soap opera TV. Oh God. You got big bad killers sitting there every day watching soap oppers, Guy in the Light and all the world. It used to drive me crazy. I could not stand it, man. All my children. Man, I even almost got into a fight with the biggest guy in the unit over this
General Hospital.
because it's driving me nuts. So, and then you got a Mexican TV, and then you got the white boy TV, and the movie TV. So I used to sit by the stairwell. And at the stairwell, you can kind of watch the white boy TV because I like educational stuff or stuff that makes sense, which is what the white boys used to watch. History Channel, all that stuff. So, and I used to watch the movie.
You're getting a question. What is it? I mean, it's kind of jumping the gun maybe, but You want to see it?
Okay. What I say? Did
Hi,
you
Angela.
Whitey about Black Mass? Well, this is the thing. I was gonna get to that. You see,
Okay, go ahead. Whenever.
I'm gonna get to that. I know we're gonna get to that. What?
Okay.
So me and Whitey just kicked it off. We hit it off. He used to come sit with me every day, like all day long. We would sit there and we just hit it off, man. I don't know. Everybody in the whole unit, black, white, Mex, everybody was just like, how are these two do? Everybody was scratching their head. Even the warden, the correctional. There's like, what about me is having this big notorious killer? How the two of you just hang out every day, just talking? Because Whitey was like, this is how Whitey Bulger was. There was like 3 modes to Whitey Bulger. He was like a retired high school history teacher senior who just loved history, loved military history, he was like, loved knowledgeable stuff, you know? Then there was the gangster Whitey Bulger. And to give an example, so he would be, most of the time, he was like retired high school history. He was well-mannered, kind, considerate. A lot of people didn't think that was Whitey Bulger, man. Like, this dude is too cool to be Whitey Bulger. That was how it was in there. We used to have a joke. The joke was, could a real Whitey Bulger please stand up? Like the Eminem song. Because we was like, this dude is too cool to be. We're expecting this big bad gangster Whitey Bulger. And it's like, he was like a retired high school history teacher. So it was like, so everybody was like, but then eventually when you get to know him, he's talking his gangster stories. He would turn into the gangster Whitey Bulger. And to give an example of how Whitey Bulger was in gangster mode, if you guys ever watch Sammy the Bull's podcast, him and Sammy the Bull almost act just alike. I think Whitey is like picture an Irish Sammy the Bull with a Boston accent. He would have a light Boston accent, but would get strong as he's getting a little excited into stories. But yeah, basically that's how Whitey was. If you guys ever watch Sammy the Bull's podcast, that's how Whitey Bulger was in gangster mode. He was funny, man. He was jokes.
So yeah. Was he mobile? I mean, you said he was in a wheelchair. I mean, was that bullshit? Was that, I mean,
no. He could have still walked. He was in a wheelchair 90% of the time. But a couple of times I seen, because Whitey was in a handicap cell, which was the last cell of that side, like the big triangle, that last corner.
Sure.
And from his cell to the handicap shower, the handicap shower is the biggest shower in the stall.
Yeah. Yes.
And you close the door. People, it's not like in the movies where there's a whole bunch of naked guys showering. There's like about 6 shower stalls that you can close the door and have your own private little shower stall. That's how it was at Coleman. And the handicap cell, because he's in a wheelchair, is the biggest stall. So from Whitey's cell to the shower stall was about maybe 20 to 25 feet. So sometimes he would actually walk to the shower stall. Sometimes he would take his wheelchair and his wheelchair could have fit in the shower stall. Or sometimes I saw him just walk to the shower stall. So he could have walked, but the reason he was in a wheelchair most of the time was they used to beat him up. The correction officers in Boston, when he was going, those guys in Boston hated Whitey so much. Sure. They used to beat up this old 82, 81-year-old man, senior citizen. How can you? He told me that. They used to beat him up. They used to keep the lights on in his cell, basically give him psychological warfare, torture.
Yeah, they're tortured.
Yeah.
So why was he in the wheelchair in the first place? Do you know?
Well, because he was an older guy. His legs were deteriorating, but he was also getting beat up. He was an old elderly guy. He was 86 years old, 80s in his 80s. And his legs, he had an issue with his legs, which it's gonna make sense when I get to that part. He used to have to put creams on his legs because he would have like sores, older senior citizen type sores on his thighs and stuff. Yeah. And his skin was cracking, so he would have to cream his legs. He used to tell me all this stuff. Me and Whitey was like that, man. Whether you like it or not, I'm no fake hair. I'm not making this up. Me and Whitey was like friends. We were buddies. He used to invite me to the cell. We would be in the cell kicking it for hours. He used to have like crackers and bean dip, and he would like give you a little, like, when you go to we used to have sodas, and we would just talk about the old days and hang out. Okay. And I was like, nobody's gonna believe this. Yeah.
So when you say talk about, and real quick, Dean, So
Mhm.
if you can, it would be info, Convict Inc. at gmail.com. But you said you're limited. So I have a Facebook page that's Convict Inc. or Robert Ross. So either one, I mean, you can reach out to me. I appreciate it. So I hope that helps. So when you say talk about things, so what what was the main things? What did he talk about? I mean, what was
I
his like
mean,
his greatest interest? I guess you would say, right? That would be a question.
uh,
That'd be a
he just loved talking about museums. Like when he was on the run, there's little fake IDs. What he used to do, he used to have like homeless people befriend them and swap identities with a guy who looked like them. So he had about a multiple IDs of homeless people. So he used to use those to jump on a plane to go to Europe sometimes. Yeah. So he would
oh,
love, he would always talk about, yeah, he did. Yeah, he was back and forth. He was up and down the place, man. That's what I say. I know things that these documentaries don't know, that Wikipedia don't know. Yeah, I was there with the guy. He told me everything, you know. So he would talk about the museums. We would talk about the military. He was a big military buff, you know. I'm a military buff. We could talk about the new jet, the bombers, the new stealth fighters. We talk about the tanks. He loved to go to the museums in Europe with the tank museums. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Did he talk about other organized crime figures?
Oh yeah. Now this is when we got to gangster Whitey Bulger. Oh yeah. We talked about everything, man. You see, with me, I'm a mob buff. I got into the mafia back when I watched Goodfellas back in 1990. So when I watched Goodfellas, it just got big. Goodfellas is like my favorite movie of all time. Once I watched, I just start studying the mafia. I don't know why, I just did, and I'm so good with the mafia. I've sat there with mafia dudes, not just Whitey Bulger. I sat people who actually got pages on Wikipedia. I've sat there with mob dudes, Steve Vento. I'm just gonna call his name. He was in Philly Mob, Warren with Nicky Scarfo. I've sat there with Chicago mobsters in outfit. I can sit there with gangsters and mobsters. I've sat there with Russians, Italians, and people like the black guys, because I'm from the Virgin Islands. Sometimes they don't even consider me black. I don't know what I am.
Well, but, no. You're right. I mean, you're an outsider for sure. Yeah,
I'm an outsider. Yeah, I even tell Whitey. Yeah, that's why Whitey used to kick with me. He's like nobody else wouldn't kick with me. So it was just me and Whitey Bulger hanging out, because when you're an educated dude like me, I have a little college, I've been in the military. I'm not a ignorant person. They think three things if you're in prison when you're black and you have intelligence. Is either you're gay, you're pretending to be white, or you're crazy. So most black people in prison thinks I'm gay, which I'm not. I love women, as you can tell. I had two females at the same time. I'm not gay. Yeah.
So
you're crazy. Oh, yeah.
Right,
or you're trying to pretend to be white. I don't know why, but that's just what it is.
So this guy Johnny Bradfield said Whitey was gay. Did he pay for male prostitutes? Did you ever hear that?
No. Whitey was not gay, bro. Me and Whitey could sit down.
I don't know. I don't know.
No. Whitey, trust me. Whitey was a ladies man. Okay. Whitey, they used to send pictures. Females used to send pictures of them in black lingerie. Whitey had his whole fan base and everything, man. He used to show me the pictures. Like, hey, check this out. Man. Man.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Females, the female correction officers used to come. There was at least 3 of them was sweet on Whitey. Yeah, me and Whitey be sitting there, and some of the female correction officers would actually come to the unit just to see Whitey. And we would just sit there and Whitey sweet talk him, man. Whitey's a ladies man. Ain't no gay nothing with Whitey, bro. Ain't nothing gay with no Whitey. So that's what I said. There's a lot of lies and exaggerations said about Whitey Bulger, bro. And that's what I'm here to dispel these lies. I was there with the guy, the real guy, not Johnny Depp, the real Whitey Bulger. Whitey was not gay. Whitey was a ladies man. Whitey used to show me he had some of his females used to send pictures from his ladies back in the day. Come on, man.
Thank you, Matt.
Whitey was a ladies man, bro. No, Whitey was no gay, bro. That's not gonna fly. No,
it's not gonna fly. I don't.
Not gonna
Okay,
fly,
go ahead.
bro.
So organized crime figures.
Yeah.
Who was he talking about?
Well, we used to sit there and watch movies. We were watching Goodfellas.
Okay, so
One
wait, go
time
back
we were
and answer
watching
the
Good. Yeah,
question. Go back and
mm.
answer the question that the guy was talking about as far as Black Mass. What did he have any? Did he mention anything about the movie?
Black Mass. When Black Mass was advertising, he would just laugh. Black Mass is just like a joke to him. It was like it's like it's not real. Whatever they wrote was not him. That's basically his attitude towards Black Mass. So whenever Black Mass, the trailer was coming on, and people would be like, "Hey, Whitey, that's you," and you know what? He just laughed. He was like, he just laughed. He would just laugh at it.
Johnny Brad.
It was a
I'm
joke.
laughing at you, bro. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
he didn't take Black Mass seriously. The thing is, you know how it is in prison. When the movie came in the movie theater, Black Mass came out about middle September 2015, and usually about 2-3 weeks after it's in the theater, they would play movies like that on the movie TV. You know, on a little loop, they would play movies on the TVs. You tune into the TV and play. They wouldn't play Black Mass. I'm pretty sure because they didn't want him to get too much of a big head in there. So while I was there in September, October, November, Black Mass did not play in Coleman because I'm pretty sure they didn't want Whitey to get a big head, man. But they used to play documentaries. You know how many Whitey Bulger documentaries?
Were there not people that wanted to kick his ass though there too? Were there not people that were threatening him?
This is a thing, and I'm gonna tell you what. While I was there, things may have deteriorated after I left because I saw a guy who was another channel interview a guy who was Whitey Bulger's cellie, and things with the white crew in the unit may have deteriorated. But while I was there, 2015, for the whole year of 2015, while I was there, you know, in Coleman, I don't know, I know how it is in other prisons, but in Coleman, it's more of a unit thing. Like the white car is the white guys in the unit. The Mexicans is more of the Mexicans in the unit. It might, when you go out to the yard, you might interact with other units. But it seemed to me it was more of a unit thing with the cars. And the white cars, remember, they're dropouts. Ain't no more all the ABs and all that other stuff you are. You're a dropout.
So it does change. A unit or even a prison does change in the drop of a dime. I mean, when you have somebody kind of like Whitey that had the reputation he did, one hand gangster, the other hand big rat, whatever you want to say, debatable, however you want to, whatever you want to say. It would largely depend what unit he was in, if he was going to go out to the yard, because he could stay in and not get hurt and get food brought. There's a bunch of different ways he could have did that, or white guys would have to get together and just say this ain't gonna fly, or something to that. You know, that's how. I just wanted to kind of put that out there, right? I mean, I think that would.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. Like I said, how I felt it. I never been to a real yard like Terre Haute or Hazleton or Big Sandy, Beaumont. I never been to those yards.
Right.
So I only know of what is at Coleman. I did my whole 5 years at the Coleman complex. I can only tell you about Coleman. But at Coleman, the unit we were in K2, it wasn't the best unit, but it wasn't the worst. I've been in a bad unit. When I first got to Coleman 2, H2, which is like straight ghetto. And I was only there for a couple of days until I got into what a correction officer went to the shoe and blase blase. I was back and forth to shoot with correction officers.
Right.
But in K2 was a decent unit. I will give it that. So, and we got along in K2. We didn't have a lot of drama in K2. You know how it is in the units with the Mexicans, the blacks, the whites, the whatever. And it would be in the unit, not necessarily in the yard. It would spill out to the yard, which it has happened at Coleman too sometimes. Running around with each other, stabbing each other in the yard. It had happened a few times. But in the unit in K2, I thought we was actually a good unit. We had peace in K2 in our unit. And the white boys,
No, it sounds funny. You know, it keeps sounding funny that you're saying that because K2, you know, like the drugs and stuff like that.
Like a drug, but
are you getting is it hot there? Do you need a fan?
Nah, I'll be all right. Let me explain to the people about Coleman. Coleman is a big rectangle, right? You got the units, the rec yards in the middle, you got the units like dormitories, like big nachos, big triangles that are all connected to each other with tunnels. You know the tunnels when the COs run in, whatever. It's a big rectangle with a backyard in the middle, and there are the A to about G is the shoe. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those letters are designed for the range, the with the cells in the shoe area. A, B, C, D, E, F. G, there was G1 and G2. H1, H2, which we're talking on this, let's say this side of the yard. There's G1, G2, H1, H2, I1, I2. Then on the opposite side of the yard, it will be HI, J1, J2, K1, K2, and then the last unit, K, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L1, L2. So that's G1, G2, H1, H2, the I's, the J's, the K's, and L's. That's how it works at Coleman. A, B, C, D, E, F is range in the shoe, and the G1s, H, I's, J, K, L is on the yard. That's how it works at Coleman. So we were in K2. Opposite of K2 is K1. K1, K2. They're right facing each other.
Okay.
All right.
So look, so tell me, who did he talk about specifically as far as guys, gangsters on the street?
Well, he talked about everybody. He told me he talked a lot about Jimmy Coonan. He held Jimmy Coonan in very high regard.
Thank
he
you,
always
Matt.
talked about Jimmy Coonan.
I'm sorry. So
yeah.
I just wanted to thank Matt real quick. I had to put that out there. Matt, I appreciate you, man, for real. Now Jimmy Coonan. So I did time with him. I'm not going to.
You know Jimmy Coonan.
Yeah, we weren't close friends. I mean, sure, he would, hey Rob, or whatever, but yeah, let's just leave. Go ahead, tell me. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll you do that for another show.
No,
but, Jimmy Coonan. Jimmy Coonan. He always talked good about Jimmy Coonan and the Westies, because the Westies at that time was ran by Jimmy Coonan and a younger guy named Mickey Featherstone. They were basically the two heads of the Westies. And I guess Whitey didn't like Mickey Featherstone too much. Because, when Mickey Featherstone, if you guys know anything about the Westies, he was kind of the wild one. But he did talk about Jimmy Coonan. He liked Jimmy Coonan. And he did tell me, I mean, I don't want to tell everything because I want to make a book and a movie one time about this. But yeah, but since we're in the vibes, he did tell me he used to go down to New York sometimes from Boston, because Whitey Bulger just didn't stay in Boston. Whitey Bulger was up and down the whole East Coast from from Boston to New York. He's actually even went to Philadelphia, PA. He used to do stuff with if you ever guys watch The Irishman, Russell Buffalino, him and Russell Buffalino did business in Piston, Philadelphia. So Whitey Bulger used to get around. His rackets were up and down, even in Florida. So Whitey Bulger used to go down to New York City, and he used to do business with the Westies. I can't really remember too much of what they did. It must have been with the Javits Center. They had a lot of racket stuff with unions and stuff. But he did tell me this. He did tell me that Jimmy Coonan took him to meet John Gotti. And he did hang out and party with John Gotti a couple times. And he used to tell, this must have been.
He did tell you that.
He did tell me that.
Okay.
He did tell me that Jimmy Coonan took him to meet John Gotti. And he did go to little parties and clubs with John Gotti. And he did tell me this, that he used to try to tell Johnny, you're kind of flashy. You're kind of bringing too much to yourself. The whole story of the whole John Gotti thing. I was bringing attention to the La Cosa Nostra or Cosa Nostra, But he did tell me, he used to tell Jimmy, John Gotti that. And that's, he did.
Not what you're saying. No. I said, I wonder how much truth there is to that. I'm not saying what you're saying.
That's a good, right. Like I said, it could have been questioned. I do kind of question it myself sometimes, but he could have.
No, it's not just that. It's the Gambinos. They were so big too at the time compared to that little bit. That crew so much. I don't know. Who knows? That's.
But the thing is, the Westies used to work with the Gambinos. The Westies and Roy DeMeyo's crew were real tight. You know that, right? The Westies actually used to do hits for the Gambino. They're even trying to say the Westies actually teach Roy DeMeo how to kill people and hang them upside down, have the blood drain in the tub, dismember them, all that stuff in the Gemini method. They actually said that
snort a lot of cocaine.
And that too. So that's fact.
A lot of cocaine, Joey Testa, anyway.
Exactly. And then eventually when they killed Roy DeMeo in 1983, John Gotti's crew, you know, there's a liaison with the Westies and the Gambinos. John Gotti's crew take over that relationship with the Westies. So they did work with the Westies and John Gotti's crew. And guess what? You can always get a hold of Jimmy Coonan and ask him these questions. In prison, he's about 75 years old. At least about now.
I don't know what happened. I haven't heard. I heard a lot of these stories inside, standing tall. Whitey hated Italians more than minorities. That's what he said.
Not really. No, that's not true. Whitey Bulger he showed me the pictures. That's not true.
You could be
Whitey Bulger did allow them.
No, I'm saying you can be different in prison. Well, you can be different in prison.
No. I'm gonna tell you a story about Whitey Bulger and Italians. You said you wanted to know if anybody wanted to beat Whitey up in prison. Like I said, Whitey was protected at Coleman. In K2, the white boys who was in power in the unit, they protected Whitey. There may have been a little soft press extortion going on.
Sure. So
that's one thing I'm going to say.
So it wasn't necessarily that he was giving them money, but I don't know, maybe items every once in a while or something like
this. Exactly.
Right? Probably the guy that
stuff
was
like that.
Yeah. Whoever's ever head of the unit was like a king rat somewhere else. Yeah. And he was tough. They brought him there, and he's like, "Oh man, this is like our bread and butter. That's what happened." I can see.
Yes, basically. So Whitey was protected in the unit. He was protected to the point where a couple of times me and Whitey used to sit with each other, but they knew. They actually even tried to tell Whitey, "Don't talk to me." I don't know if it's because of the black skin thing, but Whitey even told them, "Look, man, I'll talk to whoever I want to." Because me and Whitey were friends. They tried to tell Whitey, "Don't talk to me," for whatever reason. But Whitey said, "I'll talk to whoever you want to talk to." So me and Whitey were cool. So, but a couple of times we used to watch Whitey's documentaries. Whitey documentaries used to come on the TV like A&E and the History Channel because Black Mass was coming out. So you imagine how much Whitey Bulger documentaries were on TV? And me and Whitey
wait a minute. So how was he about that? When stuff about him came on, huh?
When stuff about him came on the TV, I was going to tell you. I used to sit next to Whitey. Whitey, I used to have to share my headphones with Whitey. You know how the headphones, you can break them in two? At the time, Whitey didn't have a radio. So I used to have to share my headphones with Whitey. So with my radio,
didn't have a radio? What do you mean?
When he first, he's an elderly man. He didn't like technology. You know, old people with technology. I'll even tell you the time we tried to teach Whitey Bulger how to use True Links on the computer. Well, he didn't use a phone. Whitey was an old man, 86-year-old man. At first, he didn't have a radio. So I used to have to share my radio with Whitey. I used to have my radio, and I used to have to take off the speakers from the headsets. And he used to hold it to his ear, and I hold one to my ear. And that's how we used to watch TV. Me and Whitey used to both sit right next to each other. And that's how we watched TV. So I used to watch his documentaries with Whitey. And while we used to watch documentaries, his crew, the white crew in Coleman, in the unit, they used to post up. So I'm surrounded with a bunch of white bad boys with Whitey Bulger, and I'm like, I'm the only black guy, you know. And they were surrounded. So yeah.
Thank you. No, I was just reading. I want to thank you for that. I was trying to look at the picture better. No, but okay, I'm listening. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I just wanted to thank him.
Whenever the Whitey Bulger stuff came on TV, almost half the unit used to sit at the movie TV, to watch the Whitey Bulger documentaries. And Whitey Bulger's right next to me watching the documentary with me the whole time. You know how crazy that is? So
yes, but
black people,
What was his feeling? Were they accurate? Were the documentaries accurate? Did he say that they were not?
He would explain things to me when the documentaries would do things like that whole Black Mass thing when Whitey Bulger was out the car shooting a guy, Balloon Head, they used to call him, I forgot his name. He got out the car and he's shooting a guy with an M1 carbine on the ground. Whitey never got out the car. Whitey actually was in the car the whole time. He told me he shot the guy from in the car spun around and shot him up on the ground again. That whole black mass thing, getting out of the car, shoot him on the ground, that didn't happen. Whitey never got out of the car. Stuff like that. He was correcting.
But when that stuff was on, was he braggadocious? Was he flattered? What was his attitude or demeanor? Is what I'm trying to get at.
Most of the time, he was quiet. Most of the time, he was just quiet watching it, and then he would kind of get angry. The one time he did kind of get angry, there was a guy. His name is, I don't know if you guys know the whole Boston thing that was going on. His name is John Red Shea. He was one of Whitey Bulger's henchmen. He used to handle the drugs. We were kind of partnered with Mafia Truth. I was dealing with, so he was dealt with. That was one of Whitey Bulger's henchmen. And one time I was sitting next to Whitey watching the documentary, and the guy was kind of bad talking Whitey, like Whitey used to make me do this, Whitey used to make me sell drugs, like Whitey was a bad cause. He hates Whitey because he hates to know that Whitey was a rat. He's a stand-up dude. This dude never. His name is John Red Shea. I don't know if you guys know him. If you know the whole Boston crew that was up there.
I really don't, but I know there's going to be a lot of people.
But yeah, he was one of Whitey's guys, and he was the only guy that didn't rat in Whitey's crew. So he hates Whitey. And when he was talking bad, I felt he talked bad about Whitey, and Whitey felt so too. Whitey said this, and I told the guy to tell the guy, because we partner with him, that Whitey said this. I should have killed that guy. That's what Whitey said right next to me when he was talking and stuff. Whitey he grind his teeth. When Whitey's in a bad mood, you ever saw that movie Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood? Have you ever saw that movie?
Yeah. Yes.
That was Whitey Bulger in a bad mood. Clint Eastwood in the movie Gran Torino, that was Whitey Bulger in a bad. That was grumpy old Whitey Bulger right there. That was the three people of Whitey Bulger.
The reason, go ahead. Go, keep going, keep going.
Whitey Bulger was a retired high school history teacher, Sammy the Bull Gravano with a Boston accent, and a grumpy old man, Clint Eastwood in that movie Gran Torino. That was Whitey Bulger right there. 3 modes of Whitey Bulger. Yeah, go ahead. Ask me anything.
First of all, Kevin Wilmette said that Red Shea, good dude. I just wanted to put that up there. So,
yeah, Red Shea is a good dude.
I always want to give good guys shout outs. You know what I'm saying? For real. What was I going to say? The reason I asked that question is because I've been next, and the people that listen to me know I've been next to Carmine, and he just flipped out when stuff would come out about him, Or
why didn't flip out?
Yeah, and I just
why they wouldn't flip out?
Because some people might eat it up. Bernie Madoff. No. Bernie kind of he kind of liked it. I think at times if it was favorable, No,
Whitey stayed quiet most of the time. When we were watching the documentary, he just stayed quiet and just observed it, honestly. And then he just was quiet. He just watched it. He didn't puff his chest out. It was just like I said, you didn't even you sometimes you forgot that was Whitey Bulger. He just sat and watched it with the rest.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. And really, because even when I asked you a couple of these questions, like, what was he interested in and stuff? Because you know what? When you're around somebody all the time and they become your friend, you don't even think of them like that. And again, I go back because I was around Carmine the most. I never even, I mean, not never, but I didn't even think of him as like a mob or organized crime figure like that. It wasn't even like that. So it's like when I started doing this show and stuff, and I started thinking about things, I'm like, I don't remember what he said or what he did, and then you kind of start thinking, or you talk to a couple other people or whatever the deal is. But it's kind of like hell, I remember more in the last 6 months things about Carmine, and stuff like that than I did in the beginning. But you just kind of forget because it's just normal. There's another inmate, convict, whatever the hell you were, prisoner. Somebody else there.
That's why a lot of people. That's why I watch your show and I get a laugh out of your show because I know what you're talking about. It's the same thing. Sitting next to Whitey Bulger, I sat next to other guy. There, Steve Caracappa. He was one of the mob cops. He was a co-man.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't in the same unit with him, but he bumped into me one day. It's like, okay, my bad. And then when you walk the yard with people, it's like the who of who in prison. You know who that is? It's like, no. I used to walk with a guy in the yard who just knew everybody. And he's like, that's Steve Caracappa. Like, Steve Caracappa, he's one of the mob cops who killed for gas pipe castle. Oh, okay. And yeah, they're just regular people, man, when they're in prison, bro. There's no machine guns in prison. The only people who got the machine guns is the correction officers and the
Oh
gun
no,
tellers.
you'll see
Oh,
some of these
yeah,
true colors. I mean, I've mouthed off
yeah,
and said got on rants on people and stuff like that here.
yeah,
But I mean, yeah, it's you see. I treat people as they treat me in there. And I don't give a damn
yeah.
about titles and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? And I can't. I'm trying to think of somebody that really. What was that? Robert? Oh, not Dershowitz. What the hell is that guy's name? Was it
Berkowitz,
No,
Berkowitz,
the guy, the
the
old
son
guy.
of Sam.
What is it? No, not Berkowitz. The guy in the wheelchair, Robert. He was a billionaire, or damn, I'll think about it. He's the only one I was kind of fascinated by. He was in a wheelchair. I mean, really old and fragile, but I just read an article about him written by a guy named Steve Fishman, and it was like, I really couldn't wait to kind of meet him. That's probably the one that I really remember, and I can't remember his name right now. Hey, sad this guy. One thing to say is one prison. A whole other thing is Burger was a despicable low life rat. Okay, Robert Durst. Robert Durst. That's who it was, Travis. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, Whitey was just at that time he was retired from that gangster life. He would even tell you, like, if people would come up, like some of the correction officers and some of the people would come up and talk to him, he would even tell you, man, I'm retired. That was his favorite thing. I'm retired.
Okay. So let me ask you this. What did he say about family or friends or something like that? Anything? Did you talk about his kid or talk about anything like that?
Yeah, well, I didn't find out that he had a son that died. I don't know if you guys watched Black Mass, and his son had like an allergic reaction to aspirin. I think his name was Douglas. Because remember now, I didn't know much about Whitey Bulger. I was in prison when Whitey Bulger got caught. 2011, I had just got to Coleman Medium, and I didn't know nothing about Boston gangsters and Whitey Bulger. So I didn't know much about him. I learned about Whitey Bulger from watching his documentaries with Whitey Bulger right next to me. And so he didn't talk about his son, but I found out later on that his son has died. Yeah. And he did talk about his crew, like Kevin Weeks, Steve Martorano, his hitman, and Steve Fleming. He talked about his crew. He talked about killing some people. Yeah, he would tell me. He would tell me. Yeah, he did. He didn't, man. Whitey did not care. He would tell you how he killed people, bro. And at first, it used to make me feel a little uncomfortable. It would kind of make me feel a little uncomfortable when he would tell me stories, how he killed people. Like, he would tell me how he shot a guy in the head one time. Him and the guy was just talking. You know, he would rock you to sleep, the term of pretend to be your friend, your buddy, and kill you. So he would tell me how he was basically, this dude was cool with him or whatever. And the guy was just talking to him right in front of him. And Whitey just shot him in the head real quick. Bow. And he would tell me how the guy was just talking to him. And it was just like he nodded off. It wasn't like, he didn't even know he was shot in the head. Literally, he told me how he shot, and there was no big splat of blood like the movie. It was just like a little drip of blood coming out from his head. And stuff like that, details of how he would tell me. Like, he said he was just talking to the guy and was just like, I was just, pow! I was walking down the street. And when I went down the street, it's just like he nodded off. He would tell me stuff like that, how he would kill people. Yeah. Stuff like that. He would tell me stuff like drive around with a towel in your car. So if I shoot somebody in the car and the blood splatters on the windshield, just take the towel and wipe it off the windshield. He would give me little tips of how to murder people. Like, if you dig a body, put the body down, put the lime in there, make it at least about try to make it 4 feet, if not 6 feet deep. Put lime on top of them so the lime melts it within a few months. Put dirt down and then put rocks on top of the dirt. Don't put dirt in the hole. Put a level of dirt, and with enough space, put rocks, then cover the rocks with dirt. So if a dog smells the body coming out the ground and he tries to use his paws to dig the body up, his paws will be hitting the rocks and hurt his paws, and he would stop digging the body up. Stuff like that. He would give me tips on how to dismember bodies.
Really? That's, I mean, that. Okay, no, I'm just forget the Whitey, the Bulger said that, or you say that he said that.
Yeah, he didn't care.
No, it's the fact that I never even thought about. that. You know, that's actually pretty.
I'm getting it from Whitey Bulger. There's a lot of stuff about what. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what I'm trying to make a movie documentary, a prequel, and a sequel to Whitey Bulger. He told me everything. He told me his whole life story. In a whole year, sitting there with Whitey Bulger for hours every day. Told me everything, bro.
Right. Okay. So what else? So what about okay, how'd you guys
Let me tell you
ways?
about. Well, I'm gonna go back to some of the gangster. I gotta tell you guys, watching movies with Whitey Bulger, but let's do that first, and then I'm gonna tell you about how we party.
Okay, go ahead.
Remember now, this is my last year in prison. I'm being released February 22nd, 2016. So this is my last year in prison. So my last year in prison, I'm trying to hit the streets, man. Whitey Bulger or not, I think you're cool, but I gotta go. You feel me? So yeah. But I want to tell you how it is watching movies with Whitey Bulger. Let's start with Goodfellas. We were watching Goodfellas. We're in the black TV. And all the black people are watching Goodfellas on the black TV. And I told Whitey, man, we're watching Goodfellas. I tell Whitey, come watch. I tell him, come over, man. Like, don't be shy. Nobody's not going to bother you in this unit. Nobody's not going to bother Whitey Bulger. Even with me there, I'm a kind of respected type of dude. You got to touch Whitey, you got to touch me. You know what I'm saying? That's how we were.
No.
So we were watching.
Wait, stop. But it's crazy to think about you sitting there or anybody sitting there telling Whitey Bulger, come on, it's okay to come over here. I mean, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
I mean, to a normal person, I mean, I know what you're saying, but to a normal person,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I just wanted to pause for effect, but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, it's like, because remember now, he's a fragile old man. I'm not a fighter. I'm a shooter. I'm a trigger guy. I'm not good. I'm not the best fist fight I can do. I could beat Whitey Bulger up. There's nothing he can do. I mean, if he got a shank and I've seen a guy in a wheelchair shank a dude. So yeah, you gotta be careful with that, people. I saw a guy shank his celly, wheel right up with him and start shanking him in the neck while he was sitting down watching TV. So don't even underestimate a guy in a wheelchair. But Whitey Bulger, he was not what you think he was. That's what I'm here to try to tell you. I will tell you this. We was on a rec yard one time. You know how they kick you out the unit to search the unit, and you have to go on a rec yard, and they used to lock us in a big pavilion that was like fenced off and lock you in there. You're in a rec yard, but you're in a pavilion within the rec yard on the recreation side. So I used to chill with Whitey Bulger.
Did he talk about killing Steve Feminy's, how do you say his daughter?
This is the thing. That part, there was 2 females that were killed. That was Stevie Fleming's girlfriends. You know that. You people know that, right? It was a Deborah Davis and a Deborah Hussey. I 100% fact know. I get the names mixed up because they're both Deborahs. But Stevie killed one of them for sure, because Whitey even told me. Stevie Fleming was no better than Whitey Bulger. He was worse than Whitey. What do you think Whitey Bulger was charged with her murder and he was found not guilty? Because the guy they put on the stand to testify against Whitey Bulger killed the girl. You put a guy, a known murderer, Stephen Fleming, on the stand just to get Whitey Bulger to make a show, and you knew this guy killed one of those girls. That's how. What do you think he got not guilty? That's how people need to wake up, man. Whitey did have cops. Whitey did have paid FBI foremen, and there was at least 10 of them. That's why they killed him, because he was going to start to expose them. He was going to start to write letters. He even told me, I'm going to start writing letters to his attorney, to write to the news people that I had at least 10 FBI agents working for me in that Boston office. That's one of the reasons they killed him. Yeah, we're going to get to that part.
Okay.
But there was 2 girls killed. When the documentary showed Whitey Bulger killing one of the girls, he was quiet. He didn't say anything. And I didn't ask him. I'm not going to ask him. If you don't say nothing, I'm not going to ask you. I was not a groupie dude. That's how I was friends with him. You don't be a groupie. I don't be like, hey, Whitey, did you kill her? Or did you really do it like that? No, I wasn't like that. I just watched it. But yes, he did kill one of them. Okay, girls get killed. Everybody harping with this girl get killed thing. Yeah, he did kill her. Yes, he did. He killed her because she was a prostitute. She was a drug addict. Nothing wrong. And I don't judge nobody. It's just that when she got drunk and when she got drugs, she used to talk too much. she used to tell everybody that Whitey Bulger is doing this, Whitey Bulger is that. I'm with Whitey Bulger and his crew. And what do you do with somebody who's talking too much who's going to get you locked up? You silence them, right? So yes, he did kill her. I'm gonna say it up front. He did kill her. Because when she was getting killed, I just looked at him, and he didn't say. I know he killed her. But the other girl, there's two Deborahs. Stephen Fleming killed her. So just leave it at that. Yes, he did kill one of the girls, but Stephen Fleming killed the other one, man. Simple. It's that simple. Yes, he killed her.
Okay.
It's that simple.
Right on.
It's that simple. Girls get killed every day. We don't hit women, you don't kill women, but when you want to be a gangster, these are the things gangsters do, people. He killed her. Okay. What I was going to talk about? I was going to tell him about watching Goodfellas with Whitey Bulger.
Yes.
This is first movie we talk about. We sat there and wearing the black TV with a whole bunch of black guys. Whitey didn't care. He wasn't racist. And with me, we're in the back though. When we watch TV, me and Whitey and our little crew, we used to sit in the back. So we're watching Goodfellas, and about 30 minutes into the movie, he didn't like Henry Hill. Because Henry Hill, I don't know if you guys know the history of Henry Hill. I'm going to tell you. Henry Hill, just in 1977, 78, 79, they had that Boston basketball point shaving scheme in Boston. Henry Hill, which his boss was Jimmy Burke, which is, Jimmy Burke from the movie Goodfellas, Jimmy Conway. Henry Hill and some other guys went up there to Boston, and they were bribing, like, I think his name was Coonan and Sweeney, something Keenan and Sweeney. You guys know the history. They were the basketball players for the Boston. What is this? The Boston Celtics. I'm not a sports guy, so they were rigging up the Boston basketball teams back then with the head player to point shaving. That's how the mob used to make money back then. But they didn't tell Whitey about it. Whitey thinks that's his territory. Boston's his thing. And they didn't ask for permission or cut Whitey into it. So when Whitey found out about it, when everybody else did, I guess, he was pissed. He wanted to take his crew and go down there to New York to confront Jimmy Burke and Henry Hill about that. Now, Jimmy Burke, if anybody know Goodfellas and that Jimmy Burke crew, and they were with the Lucchetis, Paul Vario, you're dealing with a big New York family. You might be bad up in Boston, but you go down to New York. So I thought that was like, I don't know about that one, bro. You're going down to New York thinking you're going to try to get your cut from Jimmy Burke and the crew. But that's why he hated Henry Hill. So about 30 minutes into the movie, he's like, you know what? I can't stand it no more. And he just went in his wheelchair and took off. I can't stand it no more. I can't stand it. I can't watch this thing no more. That's what he said. So that was Goodfellas. We watched The Departed. Everybody remember The Departed, right? Where Jack Nicholson was kind of playing a character based on Whitey Bulger.
Yeah.
Watching The Departed with Whitey Bulger. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
He is going to take the whole movie trying to convince you that's not him. So he's going to go back and forth to his cell. It's like, that's not me. That's not me. That movie is based on some play in Japan, which, it was based on some Japanese movie, really. And that's not me. That's not me. So he's going to spend the whole movie trying to convince you that's not him. Okay, we got it. It's not you, bro. We're trying to watch the movie. Basically, yeah. There was a couple of us. We were trying to watch the movie with Whitey Bulger, and he's like, man, that's not me. That's not me. That's not even me. He's going to spend the whole movie trying to tell you that was not him. That's Whitey Bulger. So he wouldn't even watch the whole movie with us. He was like, go and come, and just try to tell you that's not him. Okay, we got it. It's not you. You know what I'm saying? Sure. Stuff like that. We watched The Town. We watched the whole movie with The Town. That was good. It was a good time. The Town was a good movie. And he would just say, hey, that movie, The Town, he basically said, that was my town one day. Like, okay, we got you. That was my town back then.
He did say that.
He did say that, yeah, since he ran Boston. And, he had to share it with the Italians and North End, right? But yeah, so we watched Goodfellas. We watched Casino. We enjoyed watching Casino, with Tommy, with the little Joe Pesci playing Tony the Ant Spilotro. Enjoy that. We did enjoy watching our favorite movie was with Johnny Depp with Public Enemy, because Whitey Bulger loved John Dillinger growing up. Oh, as a kid, when that whole John Dillinger thing was going on, he was like 5, 6 years old, and he used to root for John Dillinger, during the Depression days, and and he would hear it over the radio. He would tell me this. He would say, "Man, I was a little boy. I used to root for him." So when we used to watch Public Enemies, I used to tell Whitey, "Hey, Public Enemies on." He'd come. Oh yeah, about at least 2 or 3 times we watched it. That was like the favorite movie to watch. Public Enemies. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I told you this is gonna be a funny one, man. Yeah,
Right
Whitey Bulger's cool.
Right, yeah, you told me.
I told you.
So I'm at loss for words. I was trying to think of what
I
to
know,
say.
that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. we couldn't believe that was Whitey Bulger. Our joke was this. We used to be like, Whitey Bulger switched identity with this old guy. I got this old guy in here. We couldn't believe this. This dude is too cool to be Whitey Bulger. He did not act like this super gangster.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Good question here, Travis. Thank you. Thanks, Travis. Did he talk about the time in Alcatraz?
Yes, he did. He told me all about Alcatraz. When he got to Alcatraz, he told me that he met, his name was Alvin Karpis. He was one of the bad boys one of the guys in that when that whole John Dillinger Dragnet thing was going on in 34, 35. If anybody know Alvin Karpis, he was with the Mar Barker gang down in Florida. He met him. He was in Alcatraz. He used to talk with him in the rec yard. Bumpy Johnson, I don't know if you guys remember American Gangster. Bumpy Johnson was the big guy. With that whole Frank Lucas thing was not really that cool with Bumpy Johnson. That's Hollywood, but whatever. But Bumpy Johnson, he met Bumpy Johnson. He was cool with Bumpy Johnson. Whitey Bulger was not racist. Whitey Bulger told me, like, when he got locked up for bank robbery back in the 50s. He went to Leavenworth. He had went to Atlanta before he went to Alcatraz. When he was at Atlanta, he told me this, that one time, at that time, the prisons were somewhat segregated. Well, they still are, white cell, black cell, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he told me that one time they will have to force some whites to go in the black cell. And Whitey said he had no problem. He even volunteered to go in the cell with 2 black guys. I think there was 3 of them in the cell, and they were cool. So Whitey was not racist. That's what I'm trying to tell her. That's what I told her. I had to make sure he wasn't racist, because I'm like, once I realized he's not racist. That's why we were cool. He hanged with me more than anybody else. So hey, he was not racist. And then let me say, if you ever guys remember in Alcatraz, they had about 3 guys who escaped. It was supposed to be 4 of them, but one of them chickened out. So it was 3 of them.
Right.
It wasn't just 3 of them who planned that. It was a whole group of guys who assisted those guys in escaping from Alcatraz. I think it was in 1962. They made a movie about it.
Whitey didn't help them, right?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he used to get tools. They used to get forks and knives to make tools. So he didn't know about it. There was a little group of people who knew about it. And Whitey was an escape artist. He was trying to escape out of Atlanta penitentiary. That's why they sent him to Alcatraz, because he was always trying to escape and getting caught before he got out the wall. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing to do back then, try to escape. So he did not try to escape with them, but he did assist them in escaping from Alcatraz. That's what I said. Whitey was one of the last people alive who was at Alcatraz. That's why a lot of people, there's one people who said this. Actually, Chad Marks said this, that when they sent him to Hazleton, it's like they didn't know that was Whitey Bulger. You want to know how they knew that was Whitey Bulger? Whitey Bulger was probably one of the last people alive who was at Alcatraz. And when you went to Alcatraz, because he told me this, they gave you a special number, a special Fed number. Only the people who went to Alcatraz got this Fed number because they were the worst of the worst. And guess what? If you was R&D receiving Whitey Bulger or Grand Perry, you knew that was Whitey Bulger because his inmate number is unique. He is probably the only person in prison with this number, and I lost his paper. But it starts with like an AZ something. So I'm pretty sure with modern system, you type this in, it's like something's wrong. You would have to type in extra stuff and be like, this is Whitey Bulger, because he has a unique number. And I'm trying to show it to you guys if I can find it. He is like probably one of the only people with this number in the federal system. So how do you not know that's Whitey Bulger? That's why he was sent to Hilton to be killed. Read between the lines, people. Know the truth. And I'm going to explain to you why he was sent to Hilton to be killed. Here it is. People, I don't know if these cameras can see good.
Thanks, Tall, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Show us
this. Yeah. This is a letter, because when I left prison in 2016, February 22nd, 2016, me and Whitey still kept in touch with each other. We used to write letters because he wouldn't use a phone. He wouldn't use True Links. You can send me an email, call me on the phone. He tried to tell him, call me on the phone. I'll even put money in your books, which he had plenty of money. So what? These are those old people, So we would write letters. He wrote me a bunch of letters. And he sent me this. This is a picture of him, and it's signed and autographed in the back. And when Whitey Bulger signs and autographs his stuff, I don't know if you guys can see it with his camera in the bottom. His number.
Back it up a little. Back it up a little bit. Back it up a little bit. Maybe back it up just okay, right there. Maybe okay. It's all right.
Can you see?
It's a little bit fuzzy.
No,
okay.
Almost nobody in the feds has this number. You know numbers in the feds. This is my ID in the feds. I don't see it. You see how the numbers are? It's 082000. Whitey had an AZ. An AZ. Right. It's an AZ 1428. It's a 1428 AZ. Nobody in the federal system has this unless they've been to Alcatraz, because it's the same number he had in Alcatraz. This is how they knew it was Whitey Bulger going to Hazleton. That's the proof. Nobody in the feds has that number but Whitey Bulger, and maybe one or two other people in the feds who are still alive. Come on, man. Simple.
Right on.
I was there with the guy.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, so man. Let's be real.
What's the last letter you got from him?
Remember now, when I left, this is February 22nd, 2016. The letters kind of slow down on both ends. I would say about the time he got into trouble. Whitey turned into a grumpy man. He was a grumpy old man. And I believe it just continued to get worse and worse after I left. Because I do remember just before I left, about 2 months before I left, I noticed he would stay in his cell more. He wouldn't come out and hang out with us as much and chill with us. He would stay in his cell, writing his letters. He wrote a lot of letters. He had a fan mail. He had a fan base. And I would just once in a while check up on him, but I'm not a groupie, man. I don't groupie. Right. I don't dick ride. So I believe he just got grumpier, and he got grumpier and grumpier. So after I left, I didn't even get to say goodbye to him, because I left a Monday, and probably the Friday before, he used to get little heart attacks. And he had a heart attack.
Little heart attack.
The Friday. Yeah. Right. Like little heart attack.
Right.
Like a couple of times, man, Whitey, we used to make so much jokes. One time I made Whitey laugh so hard, he almost had a heart attack right in front of me. Me and my cellie, we used to be at odds sometimes. My cellie wasn't the brightest type of dude. He would say stupid things like Jesus Christ had to pay electrical bills. Like he thought Jesus Christ really paid the electrical bills. He didn't really go to school. He thought the sun used to go someplace and come back. I used to tell him, no, man, the sun don't go nowhere. The world turns. You're on the dark side. The sun stays still. When you come back, then you see the sun again. Stuff like that. And I told Whitey that. So Whitey was laughing so hard, he almost had a heart attack right in front of me. So I had to tell him, calm down. He was laughing hard. Yeah. Well, I used to get jokes in there, man. That's what I try to tell you, man. So he would get little heart attacks. One time he was on the rec yard. And he used to go in the rec yard sometimes. Nobody bothered Whitey at Coleman, man. He was protected. He used to go in the rec yard. He used to be out in the sun chilling with his cap on backwards, hanging out. Yeah, Whitey Bulger used to be like this in the unit, man. What
happened? What just happened?
Oh, that's okay. My phone fell off the stand.
Oh, okay. We don't want that to happen.
Can you hear me? My phone fell off. That's okay. I actually hit the phone. I don't have the perfect studio right now, but so Whitey Bulger was like hanging out. He used to have his cap on backwards, rolling around his wheelchair, like he like he's in the handicap Olympics, running around. He used to act like he had a Tommy gun, like he's shooting us in the unit. Cause we were gun nuts, man. Yeah, he used to run on his wheelchair. One time he came by me, he's like, brrr, brrr, like he's in a fucking gangster flick. Oh man, we're laughing, but it wasn't that funny because it's like Whitey Bulger just rode by and did a drive-by. It's like, ha ha ha, but that's Whitey Bulger though, you know? Stuff like that. He had fun in there, man. Yeah, drive by this wheelchair. Hey, this shit, yeah.
Hey, you know what sucks? Yeah. Like, I don't think this is gonna be recorded. I don't think that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, we're gonna do more of this. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to make a documentary and show people what it was being like with Whitey Bulger in prison. Yeah. We used to make fake guns in there, man. I used to think, hey, I'm a gun nut. What do you think? We used to, you know, our porn in there for me and Whitey was gun porn. We used to have to sneak gun magazine. So everybody watching females, we had to watch gun porn. So I was like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. We have to sneak gun porn in there, man. It's ridiculous. Wow. How stupid does it get? It's magazines. Yeah, man. That's how it was, man.
I can't believe Netflix hasn't picked you up yet, bro. For real. I mean,
I'm trying to get this to Netflix, man. I took a whole month off, man, because I've been doing all these projects trying to get this to Netflix, and everybody's a fake and a fraud. And it's getting tiring, man. So I want to get straight to a Netflix executive, unless I can make a prequel and a sequel to Black Mass. It's basically at filling in the gaps, because I could tell you about how when he was in the military, how he went to Bermuda. He told me they used to go in the military, we call it temporary duty, TDY. And from Smoky Hill Air Force Base, which is in Kansas, they used to fly to Bermuda sometimes. And that's how when we first started talking, he was like, man, I love the island. I like to listen to like calypso music. I'm like, what the? How do you know about calypso music? He's like, yeah, I used to go to Bermuda when I was in the Air Force. And that's how we like vibe, you know? It's like, how did this man know about calypso music and pates? Like, what the? You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to. There's another side to Whitey Bulger.
I'm just trying to still figure out how nobody knew he was doing drive-bys in prison. I mean, that's classic, right there.
I've said that to other stuff. Yeah, he used to roll around it, man. Look, I used to tell him, man, we have to start putting speed signs in here, man, because he used to fly through the unit full speed, like when it's chow time, and he's just, man, that old man used to try to. He let you know I ain't no old man, man. You just go. You can't catch Whitey Bulger in the wheelchair, man. You can't. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you, man. Yeah, man. Can't catch Whitey Bulger in the wheelchair, bro.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They didn't have to kill him, man. So, what we're gonna get to? We're gonna start talking about how and why they killed him. This is what happened. He was a grumpy old man. He was always getting into it with a correction officer. I used to try to talk to him and try to tell him, like, you know, man, he used to have this one guard, used to keep messing with him all the time. I used to try to tell Whitey, just ignore him, you know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, just stay with him. This dude's a punk. This dude, anytime anything go off in you, he hit the button, the panic button, and don't say nothing. Call for backup. This dude is a punk. But because Whitey Bulger, old man in a wheelchair, he keep picking on him. You know what I'm saying? I just ignore this dude, right? So I used to try to talk to him. And what happened was, January 26th, it was January 2018. This is what I was told from other people in the unit, because I still had friends in the unit I used to talk to. I used to call them, and I called one time and I asked him, hey, how is Whitey doing? And he told me Whitey's in the shoe. Remember, this is January 2018. This is about 9 months before he died.
Okay.
And he's like, what is he in the shoe for? He said, and this is how I knew what happened. He told me this. He said, Whitey was in the infirmary, the hospital portion of the jail, the infirmary, and him and the nurse got into it. More than likely, it's a female nurse, because they're all male nurses, but more than likely a female nurse. And he told the nurse this, bitch, don't you know who I am? I can have you fucking killed. Whatever they was going where they got into an argument and this thing escalated, and they took that as a threat. And I guess he's been getting into it with those people enough. And if you guys don't know anything about being in the feds or being a Coleman, they set you up to get murdered. How I know this? They tried to set me up to get murdered one time in the shoe. They put me in a shoe with a guy who was very dangerous.
They tried to
and
kill
me and him
you?
got into it.
What did you do?
They tried to kill me.
Why?
I got into it with correction officers. And when they don't like you, when you don't like
okay.
let me tell you, this is how they kill you in Coleman. When the correction officers don't like you, they put you in a cell with a dangerous person for you to get beat up.
That's right.
In the shoe. And there's a correction officer right now from Coleman who's doing life in prison because she was working in the shoe. And this guy reached through the flap, you know, the flap with food trays. He reached his hand through the flap and touched her private parts. And that pissed her off, which it would a woman, of course. So what she did was she organized a transfer to have this guy transferred. This happened at Coleman Pen 1. A couple of years before I got this, probably about 2010, 2009. Yeah, around that area. Because everybody was talking about it when I first got there. So she orchestrated a transfer to have this guy transferred in a cell with a known killer. This dude kills people in prison. He's a killer. To purposely be beat up. But guess what? That dude did the job a little too well and beat him to death and killed the guy. So guess what? And these dudes are rats. What loyalties does a guy in prison have the correction officer? So the guy ratted on her and said, hey, this female correction officer told me that when this dude comes to cell to beat him up horribly. Because he's got like multiple life sentences anyway. It don't matter. So guess what? She is doing life in prison right now for that. So because she set him up to get killed. And that's how they set you up, and they sent Whitey to get killed. Why did they just send Whitey to Coleman Pen 1? Because there were guys in Boston over there, I found out from another channel, who would have killed Whitey in Coleman Pen 1. Why did you have to send him to Hazleton? You sent him to Coleman Pen 1 next door. I don't know why they didn't send him to Coleman Pen 1, because I had guys from Coleman Pen 2 who went to Pen 1, from St. Thomas, from the islands, and they knew I was cool Whitey, black. So they probably would have looked out for him because they knew I was cool Whitey. Because in Coleman, how this works, like I told you, you can either get stepped up or step down. You can either be a Coleman Pen 2 or Coleman Pen 1 and step down to a medium or the low, or if you keep getting in trouble, we can step you up. You go from the low to the medium to Pen or Pen 1, 2 or Pen 1. So if you get in trouble at Pen 2, they might send you to Pen 1. And Pen 1 is a lot more serious than Pen 2. That's how it works.
Sure it was. But I'm wondering, was there more violence at the 2 at sometimes? Because like I said, well, no, I know that's wrong. I know that's wrong. That's wrong.
It did go down sometimes. It did go down. It did go down. When I was there, at least 2 to 3 times it wasn't the biggest wreck yard riot fight.
Where?
But it went down in Coleman 2. And when I was there, at least 3 times, they actually split the yard in 2. When I first got there, it was 1 yard. The north side and the south side, remember the 2 units, we used to wreck together. But they had, I guess after they had the biggest little fight they had on the wreck yard. I don't think it would call it a riot. They did shoot grenades.
What did you say? Well,
it's not like those big ones in Hazleton or Terre Haute. It's basically, it's going to be about 10 guys on the left and 10 guys on the right. I've seen this one. I saw one of them, and they're running around with each other with shanks trying to stab each other. That's how it looked like to me. At least about 20 people, 10 on this side, 10 on that side, and they're trying to stab each other in the wreck yard. And yeah, so I don't know if it gets bigger in other wreck, and they're not really killing each other. They're just trying to poke each other. They're not trying to kill each other. They're trying to poke each other.
Just poke each other.
Basically, that's what they're doing.
I'm laughing, but I'll tell you what. I know some people that tried to just poke each other and like got the wrong shot to the heart. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You gotta watch those.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't think it goes down as serious as Pen 1 or Terre Haute or Bloody Moment, but it did go down at least 3 times I was there. That they threw grenades.
Where's that handbook that you have? You have that book? What is it?
His
That book?
Yeah. This is the book that I got introduced. That got me introduced to Whitey Bulger. It's about the B-52.
Owner's Workshop
the
Manual.
Owner's Workshop Manual. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you say I see good?
Yeah, see good. Perfect.
The guy who was cool with Whitey Bulger told me that Whitey Bulger wanted to see the book, and that's how I met Whitey.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And that's the actual book.
That's what's okay. I got you. Okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, I got the book, and I actually let him borrow it, and he liked the book so much it was hard to get it back from him. Whitey Bulger, you let him borrow a book, and sometimes he kind of holds it too long. You got to remind him, hey man, I want my book back.
Is that actually the same book he held?
That is actually the book. Wow. And I was so stupid. I should have had him autographed it. That's how stupid I was. I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't thinking.
You're kicking yourself.
Remember, I got locked up.
I know.
Yeah. It's all right though. I got plenty of stuff signed by him. Yeah. But yeah.
You got plenty of stuff signed by him.
Plenty of stuff. I got letters from him. He actually even told me I'm an honorary Irish Marshal. I'm an honorary Irish Winter Hill. That's how cool he was. He told me I'm an honorary Irish gangster. Yeah. By Whitey Bulger himself told me. Yeah.
Leon,
I'm an honorary.
You can make like so much money doing that. I
know. Yeah. Yeah, I've been christened by Whitey Bulger himself. He told me I'm honorary in the gang because I'm a cool dude. I've been in the shoe with Crips, Bloods, Vice Lords, GDs, whatever you can think of. And most of the people get along with me, so I'm cool with everybody. Crips, Bloods. I learned that when the Crips doing their Crip walk, they're spelling something in the ground. I didn't know that. See, I learned something. I learned what a trap was from a drug dealer. He's like, a trap? Yo, when you're selling drugs in the house, because I'm not a drug dealer, I'm a gun smuggler. Remember that. I just smuggle guns. I'm not a drug dealer. So I learned how to make crack. You know, you got the cookie, you put it in the bowl, I guess, and the cookie float. All that stuff. I have to learn this stuff. Might as well. You're stuck with them.
What kind of? How were you making guns with Whitey? What, paper guns or what was it?
Yeah. What we used to do, it was the soap bar.
What?
Yeah, I know. We used to get the soap. You remember they used to have like the soap bars? It was like the bar. The soap was in these little cardboard boxes. So I used to take what I used to do. I was very creative. We used to get tape from the recreation area, and I used to make them chrome too, and I'll tell you how to make them chrome. I used to make the guns and just tape them, make cardboard box like origami, and put a magazine in it. So I used to get remember the little boxes for the batteries? Remember the batteries used to come, four AAA batteries used to come? I used to make that as a magazine. That's the magazine for the gun. I used to make the gun, put the magazine, and make the slide cock back. So the slide used to cock back. I would take a little soap, the little soap shampoo bottles. That would be the silencer. I would have it where it could be thread on to the gun. So I used to make silencers. The Cheetos bag, the Doritos and the Cheetos bags. You know how on the outside, the inside, it's like a silver chrome. You would turn it inside out so it's silver chrome and wrap it around the gun. So I used to make the guns chrome. So I was I was so cool. One time in the unit, there's like, hey, Leon, show us your gun. So the whole unit was like, no, we want to see it. So they called me out of the unit, like, hey, we want to see your gun. So I used to keep it in my waist, just like I'm on the streets. Oh, I'm going to tell you more. Oh, it's not done yet. So I used to take the gun out, crack it back, put on my silencer. And everybody was like, hey, that's some good stuff, man. I used to make guns. And when those guys doing the little poker games, they used to have poker games and stuff, card games. I used to rob them. Yeah. You think we in prison? We on the streets, bro. They used to play the little poker games. They know I'm playing with them. They had this one guy, used to come up behind him, just put the gun in his waist and be like, hey, what you got, man? Take him his pockets. Yeah, they used to rob him. They used to put their hands up. Yeah, man, I know. We had fun in there, man. This is it. We had fun in the place.
Hold on, real quick. Mike DeBella. I just want to say this personally. Mike, thank you for that. And I did see that when I got locked up that you reached out to my wife. She's still my wife. And asked about me. And I just want you to know, I'm saying it right here and now, that I appreciate that. A couple other people. Damn. I'll do that after. But go ahead, Leon. We don't want to stop you. I messed up by saying that.
Well,
thank you. Seriously. Go ahead.
That's how it was. So they sent Whitey, the final stretch was they sent Whitey to Hazleton on purpose to be murdered. and that wasn't cool, man. I mean, he was a good. I know he's a grumpy dude. He should have been sent to probably Butner. They should have sent him to
Yeah.
Butner.
Look,
that's probably what he. That's where he was supposed to go.
Yeah. So
that's just.
I understand. No, I understand you became friends with the guy, and I get it, right? I do. In all seriousness, I mean, there's some people that really don't give a fuck. I mean, that he was killed. You understand what I'm saying? Huh?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean,
that's them. You know, I understand.
I get it. I get it. You became his friend. Some people think it's like justice, poetic justice, or whatever. You know, it is what it is.
What it is.
So I mean, but I do get that. I do get that. That you have some kind of affection for the, you know. I get it. I get it.
This is the thing. I don't kid myself. I heard all the stories. I heard all the extortion stories. Yeah, I don't agree with extorting decent, hardworking people with little mom and pop stores. I'm pretty sure. I know he did that. He used to try to play the Robin Hood thing with me. You know, steal from the rich and give to the poor. But I know you stole from the poor too. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
He never fooled me. You know what I'm saying? So he never fooled me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like my thing is this: with the cops, guess what? I could have been in jail right now. Well, I told you I had a situation 5 months ago. Well, with something that the feds don't like me to have when pow, 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 very loudly. Yeah. There's a toy gun. Let's just say that it's a toy gun. But I knew some of the cops. And the cops, I'm a security. I do security in some of the hotels and the clubs.
Right
and
here,
I know some
right
of the
now
cops
you still do? Right
in
now?
the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
No, this was 5 months ago. I'm still cool with cops. I would have joined the police department. I'm actually trying to clear my record and join the police department. That's the best gangster in the island. Drive up and down with a police car. That's the best gangster in the island, bro. I don't care what you say. This the islands. It's not like the States, bro. The cops are gangsters down here.
Okay, so let me go ahead. No, you go first. I'm going to do it at the end of the show. Go. Keep
because going. I'm cool, because I know some of the cops, they know my situation. They actually want me to try to clean up my record and join the police department. They need people like me. They just got a cop, just got buried about a month. Actually, this weekend, he was killed, 4th of July weekend. They need somebody like me who's going to know that if you come to a call and there's probably going to be a sniper, don't you want to pop some smoke and probably get a shield since they don't pay enough for bulletproof police cars? And the guy's got an AR-15 and he just killed one of them. These are things I have to teach these people. Because when I was in the military, I wasn't just a mechanic. I was an auxiliary police, like an auxiliary MP. In the Air Force, we call them augmentees. When they're low manning for security forces overseas and stuff, they used to call people like me. And I was special requested. And when I was in Korea, because I went on other people's shows and they called me a liar, guess what? I'm not a liar. Guess what? When you go to Korea, you pretend it's the Korean War. They have Navy SEALs, Delta Force, Rangers. They parachute in from planes. They crawl up on you in ghillie suits like a bush. They cut the fence. They pretend to be North Koreans invading the base. And you're in military exercises with an M16 with blanks, sometimes with lasers. You have to hunt these people down. With night vision goggles, with thermal images, I have to hunt down Navy SEALs. And I have simulated confirmed kills of Navy SEALs, Delta Force, Rangers, Marine Raiders. Yeah, I'm a bad motherfucker. That's how bad. Yeah, and this was 22 years ago when I was thinner and younger and 22 years old. Right. I'm a bad mama jamma. Yeah, the special forces wanted to recruit me. So all you people keep calling me this and that. I went on people's shows and they call me a liar. I ain't no liar here, bro. I'm a bad motherfucker.
What show?
I was on Chad, Blood on a Razor Wire TV about a year ago. I sent it to you. And I was telling people how I killed Navy SEALs and stuff. And it's like, oh, this dude is a bluffer. This dude is a liar. No, you dummies. In the military, you have military exercises. You pretend it's war. That's how you pretend you pretend. So when real war goes down, you know what you're doing. And they had Navy SEALs and Delta Force Rangers going up against me on the base. We had to hunt them down and kill them. Sometimes I take them a POW. Sometimes I got killed. Sometimes I kill them. It all depends. But then guess what? It's just like, voila, you're back alive again and back to, it's not real dead, it's fake dead. That's all. If you're join the military, you don't know what I'm talking about. Stop calling people fakes. You know.
Right on. Well,
you know how it is, man.
Yeah, you can't let people get you worked up. You know what I mean?
No, man, I know how it is, man. It's just one thing about me. One thing about me. That's why I wanted to be on your show. I'm not doing any more interviews. I don't want to be on your show because I get you. You're like me. We just tell the honest truth, and some people can't just handle it.
No, you're going to be welcome back. Let me tell you the problem. I'm telling you that I think that this is not going to be recorded because I use StreamYard, and I'm going to tell you for 3 days I've been trying to figure out how to use a computer. Okay, so I mean literally. So things got deleted or whatever, or who knows? I don't want to get in there, but I just was able to find out how to use my laptop, and I screwed things up, and I thought I had it right. And right before I pushed the button when we went live, I think it said like I had to sign up for something else to have it recorded. So this might not be recorded. I'm sick about it because I wish this was recorded. Also,
we'll do this again.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also, I want to go back. There's a couple guys that said something. I'm going to say it right now. Before so there was a couple people said, "What's wrong with Rob? Is Rob tired or something?" So you guys, I don't know if you heard it on Angel's show. I was on Angel's show a little while ago. I'm on Suboxone. So before you go like, whoa, here's the deal. One of my good friends, Dusty Burris, when I got locked up, we were together for 13 years. He was like, Rob, you need to be put on Suboxone, bro, because you're gonna fuck your life up. And I never ever wanted to be on Suboxone, okay? Because I'll misuse it. That's what I told them. So the judge, the court therapist, whatever, got involved, and they agreed. I guess it was brought up. So today I was supposed to start working the night shift on Thursday, I think it was. So right now I'm trying to stay up at night and sleep during the daytime sometimes, right? I would be working right now. My freaking car broke down, man. So I don't even want to get into all my personal shit. But I woke up today at 12, got an unexpected phone call for an hour, and as we were arguing or whatever we were doing, as we were talking, the probation department came here, 2 probation officers. And of course, they come to do a home check and a piss test and all that stuff. But my point was, I didn't take my strip at the right time. They sat here waiting for me to pee for like 2.5 hours, whatever. It was 2:30, and I took my first half a strip. So long story short is I'm trying to keep it time-wise. So I took it at 11 o'clock tonight. I'm trying to keep it time-wise every 12 hours or whatever, right? So I started getting like really tired like an hour ago. So that's what happened. And if you guys know, I don't know who knows about Suboxone or what. I mean, you can stay on it and get high on it if you do little pieces, or if you do a strip in the morning, a strip in the night, it gets accumulated in your system, and you really can't feel shit. I mean, whatever. My goal was to do it so I don't get fucked up. That's the truth. I have 92 days clean today, but a part of me doesn't feel like it's being clean either. You know what I'm saying? But from where I'm at in my life right now, in the situation I'm in, Jesus Christ, I'm glad that I do, because I haven't drank, I haven't done any other kind of drugs, pills, fucking meth, coke, and fentanyl. I started doing fentanyl. So anyway, 3 months from now, I'm going to do the Subutex shot. So that way, or the shot, that way I don't want to do strips because I don't want this stuff to be a part of my life. I just needed it as a crutch to get through right now. And that's the truth. So if you guys see me, I'm just full disclosure. So that's what it is. And yeah, I got totally groggy, and I was, and you can, my voice it's because I got an infection, but so that's where it is. So that's Randy. I think it's you. I was trying to find out who said it. Rob's looking sleepy or something, but that's what it was about. And anyway,
we'll do this again.
Leon, man, listen, priceless. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys that have been here. Glad you guys got to be active in the comment section. Had some fun. I appreciate it for real, and I appreciate the support that I'm getting. Even people that hate me have kind of been reaching out and saying some good things, and I don't care. Whatever. If you hate me, you can watch me too. I get that I'm a pretty divisive, I guess, whatever person, and I'm kind of an easy target right now, for real. People have been kind, but it is what it is. I'm not expecting it to last this way forever. But I'm not going to be punching down or around or whatever people. I can't say one person. I can't say, but anyway, that's all. That's all I wanted to say. I wanted to put that out there right now because it got brought up. Otherwise, thank you guys for your support. I appreciate it. You got to bring Leon back, Duckford, Alabama. You better believe it, brother. You better believe it. Leon, thank you.
Oh
Man.
yeah, man. No,
we'll talk, okay?
No problem, man. I'll come back anytime.
Oh, we're gonna have you. All right, you guys. Bye.